welcome to live coverage of the debate of the century. The rumble in the, I can't say jungle. You can't say jungle anymore. Rumble in, it could be, by the way, white person could be in the jungle, it could be a white person and a black lady in the jungle. What is the debate? Andy versus Candy. They meet today, and look, we're going to be live fact-checking all of it for you. We have drinking game rules, day drinking if you're doing it. I'll be doing tea, and I might move to a hot toddy. You drink anytime a logical fallacy is used. Anytime the goalposts get moved. Anytime Candace mispronounces a word. Anytime there's a personal attack from either party. Anytime there's a mention of pregnancy or motherhood. And finish your drink anytime Patrick Bet David lands a zinger or mentions percentages. Let's put it this way, the audience giving you 50%, they're giving you 51%. That tells us that we have a plus or minus error of 1% in a polling. So,
drink responsibly.
Yes. Also, you finish your drink anytime there's a call bit, because I'm going to make some predictions. The prompts for today's debate, just for everyone to be clear. Claim one, there's overwhelming evidence that's Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. That's the position that Andrew is holding. By the way, they've agreed to these terms. And the claim from Candace is there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk and is being set up as a patsy. Now, full disclosure, you know where I line up, but I do want to get to the truth because I don't believe that we have all of the information regarding Tyler Robinson. I certainly don't believe that we have the full story as it relates to Charlie Kirk. That doesn't mean that Mormon communists were training a gay guy. So, before we go on, we actually have our very own live fact checker. You know, Andrew was allowed to bring, I believe, +2, +3. He asked me, I couldn't do it. I had a long, rough night. Joe Lewis had surgery, prayers appreciated. There's some stuff going on, first day of school, all that business. But Gerald did. And so Gerald is with one Mr. Andrew Wilson, and they sent us a video live with their predictions.
Here's my prediction. I'm going to look for the first 30 minutes like I'm on the back foot as I draw the position out, and then I'm going to absolutely That's what's going to happen.
Do you think she's going to be able to support her positions?
No chance. I don't even think she's going to try.
All right.
I literally don't even think she's going to try.
Everybody's looking forward to it. Wish you luck, man.
Thank you.
All right, hopefully they start on time, but there's nothing like perpetuating the original stereotype. So, share this, give, send, go. References, we will make all of our references available at loudwithcarter.com. That page is live now. We will be updating it.
If you gift, I'll play a song. Ride a skateboard? No, I used to skate though.
The claims, some of the, I guess we should say where the goals have been set, and what we hope to see after this word from not sponsors, just us, for fun.
We offered, Candace Owens offered $300,000 to do a debate.
What is her position? What does she think happened?
Conspiracy theorists don't believe in what they believe. They're just saying it because it gives them an audience. No, that's not why we're saying it. We very much believe what we are saying.
She thinks that Israel worked in conjunction with TPUSA and Erica Kirk to murder Charlie.
I want this to be a clean victory. You're not going to be chain smoking around me, tough guy.
I said, if you gift, you can get a song request.
Click Rumble Premium and join now for $99 annually or $9.99 a month to get the entirely ad-free experience and an ever-expanding roster of content, creators, and free speech.
What song is it? You didn't even say what song it was.
Welcome. Jill is not here because he's on the ground. I don't know if Candace knows that yet. I'm sure she's probably not thrilled. But honestly, I can't blame her. I wouldn't be thrilled.
I mean, I wouldn't be thrilled.
I wouldn't be thrilled. Like, Gerald.
Same thing I do every Monday.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I have my plugs here. We're not able to do any of this without your support. You can join Mud Club Rumble Premium. Click that button. By the way, we are starting early today. I let Dan Bongino know because he's in the lineup and he understands. So thank you, Dan, for your understanding. We appreciate it. And of course, after us, we'll still lead you on to the end of the lineup. It's supposed to be 3 hours today with some breaks because Candace is pregnant. And by the way, we respect the miracle, the wondrous miracle that is creation of life. So that's cool. So the breaks are fine, and we'll have some breaks with you. Josh Firestein is here.
Yep.
Friday, September 25th, Average Joe's, Laredo, Texas. He will be there. How are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for promoting that date. Yeah, it's good. I'm in Gerald's chair. I'm being Gerald. I'm doing the drinking game right away.
That's not good.
This is mimosa.
Yeah, I know what a mimosa is. I
Yeah,
don't like first.
it's champagne.
I don't like that it's this early and that it's gay.
No, it's because I'm Gerald today.
Yeah.
Climb up that butt.
Did you hear me say that?
I feel like it needs like a floating raspberry. Which, by the way, we will have
That'd be
fact checks today. Bring it up. Anytime there's a fact check, you'll hear this.
Oh, the fact check. Well, there's different ones.
The normal one. No. The normal.
Play 4 big guys for a gift.
Right.
There.
But then we are able to get live fact checks to Gerald there because they will have 3 fact checkers, one of whom is Gerald. That is where you will hear. And I believe we have a third one just because it's fun.
Yeah, fun.
Fact check.
You don't get to ask those questions.
Yes, I do. That's my show. Bring up in the window here so people see we'll be covering this. We'll be live streaming it. Of course, go show support to Andrew and to Candace. I hope, hey, one of those things.
Debate Beavis and Butthead. What about it?
People have these conversations, and if Candace makes a case, if she makes an airtight case here, that Tyler Robinson is in fact innocent, then I don't want an innocent man to.
Why are you spamming me?
Let's go through some of the claims surrounding this debate first. First off, that Andrew was a TPUSA agent. That was a claim. No, he actually was putting up his own money, and then after Candace asked for $500,000, and he said, well, I'll offer you $200,000 and $100,000 from Brian, whatever. She's been on that show. She reduced it, but said that him crowdfunding, is pathetic. He's crowdfunding to make it back because he is putting up the money. And just so you know, Andrew does okay, but that's a lot of money. I think that's a very good thing to recoup losses from crowdfunding as opposed to a nonprofit, be it PragerU, Forward Publishing, TPUSA, or some giant investor who's unknown. You guys fund this if you want to see more debates. He is effectively paying a ransom. I will tell you this, I obviously have a bias because I was asked to debate Candace. I believe you have an overlay to this effect. It was the Great Debate Con, whatever it was called. They said, hey, you want to debate Candace? I said, sure. They said, we'll sweeten the pot, $30,000. I said, yeah, okay. And they said, she said no. I said, well, she can have mine. And she said no. My policy is I'm not going to chase because this is how we do it, and I don't love the back and forth online and the drama, but I also understand it building anticipation, like Conor McGregor with a fight. Here's the other thing, I guess that we should go through different claims. She did say she could not travel because she was pregnant, and that he couldn't smoke, Mr. Tough Guy, but here's the truth. She traveled while pregnant to a podcast where a man was smoking in front of her.
Climate hoax is one that runs trillions of dollars, and
Okay.
we are not running out of space. You could fit the entire world if you stacked it like New York City in Dallas. So
Fit. I just said
you said fit, but the point is that hurricanes are down. The whole idea that every time it rains, it's because something bad is happening is like it's okay.
And by the way, new information is coming out regarding medical science all the time. So since then, we might know, hey, you don't want secondhand smoke when you're pregnant.
No, it was fine before.
Yeah. So okay. Here's the other claim that she made online, but then kind of retracted, where she said, well, hold on a second, she has never accused Erica Kirk specifically, because that's a big reason for it. A lot of people feel for the widow of Charlie Kirk, whether you like Erica or not, whether she makes mistakes or not, leather pants and sparklers, I get it. But she's never...
Welcome to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, and tell me your secrets.
Lots of evidence that is now piling up against Erica Kirk. I've seen enough. Erica Kirk should be dragged into a police precinct. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide.
That seems pretty cut and dry.
Assassination
Dragged
of the king
into a police
to
precinct.
install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. Turning Point USA for Erica Kirk, and what I think is fair to refer to as also their federal accomplices.
Let me ask you, does that seem like a claim that Erica Kirk, not that she walked up and shot him with a lemon squeezer like William McKinley, but was she involved in the killing of Charlie Kirk? Needs to be dragged into a police precinct? I would say so.
Overthrowing a king?
If I said, Josh woke up tomorrow dead, and I noticed that he was killed by a nail gun, and I said, oh, it came from the tool room? They need to drag Toolman Tip
Portland, Oregon.
and question his ass, and then people say, oh, so you're saying Tim did it? I'm like, where'd you get that?
It's impossible. Tim doesn't know how to use a nail gun.
You know what they say about assumptions? Makes an ass out of you and me. But I'm an ass man, so I'm fine with it.
Don't. You're in the Come on now.
I want to go through this, though, before the debate. Here's what I think is going to take place. Now, can you bring this up? She has said, flat out, Candace Owens, that Tyler Robinson is innocent.
Where are you from?
You can probably get that to me. There were a few different ones, but there's one quote that's really pretty clear. Not just Patsy, but that he is, today's episode is positively explosives, might even free a young man who's being wrongfully framed for the murder of Charlie Kirk. Not the fed slop that you've been sold. Now, why are you pointing up?
Never mind.
Can you bring that, put it down on the radio so people know that we are going to cover the stream here later?
That's what she does, though. She goes, might even
British?
free an innocent man. It's like,
Right.
I didn't say that
No, I haven't seen the wildfires.
and he'll be free.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's like, come on, you're saying it.
well, like we said,
That's crazy. What caused the wildfires?
he is a patsy, and there is
Which part of England is it? Welsh? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, we had wildfires here, like in Portland, like a week or two ago. It might still be ongoing, but the smoke went away. Like we had a lot of smoke in town for a few days.
Candace. I'll go through the entire timeline,
You
by the
showed
way,
us something?
because people said, hey, do you think that Candace believes what she said?
Crazy.
And you guys comment first. Do you believe that
No, I'm straight. Sorry. To burst your bubble.
I want to start with at least four here. Four major claims she's going to have to defend because these were very quickly, summarily refuted, factually. Really inarguably refuted. And I noticed that she has scaled back and then just sort of broadened claims. So I hope that we see this debate stick to the very specific claims that were made and where she lines up on them now. So look, number one, first claim. These are the ones that she made that I think she needs to definitely account for. The claim that Egyptian military planes, at the tail SUBTT, flew out of Provo after Charlie Kirk's assassination, raising suspicion. This was her claim.
They are also working very hard trying to convince us.
Yeah, I watched Rick and Morty. I haven't seen the newest season yet, though. You just reminded me I need to watch that.
They did. Well, it turns out maybe these planes might be the key to everything, not nothing.
And by the way, you can check the references. Go see the entire episode. We want to keep these short so we can go through them, but we're not taking it out of context. Here's the truth.
I'm gonna have to sign up for Hulu again or something.
Part of Provo at around 7 a.m., right? Hours before the shooting, she misread UTC as Utah time. It was community noted. It was widespread. And she tried to say, so these people are saying there's nothing there. Well, no. Well, the more important thing is she cited like 73 broad overlaps with the planes. Those were summarily fact-checked. 66% of the claimed plane locations were wrong. Okay, they were wrong. They were inaccurate.
I'll have to watch it pretty soon. Still catching up on some stuff. I will. I'll try to find it somewhere. What's up, Unc?
Over 60% of these claimed conspiratorial overlaps where there was no physical, emotional, spiritual, or temporal connection to the Kirk family whatsoever. So at what point do you say, okay, 60% of your 73 claims are completely wrong, maybe the others are just coincidence, and you got the time zones wrong? She never really refuted that. She said she was going to come out with new information, never did. So let me ask you, those who line up, do you still believe that the Egyptian planes are a smoking gun? Number two, this is another one. These are ones where she's made concrete claims that the French Foreign Legion were training Tyler Robinson, the third.
No, it's rated R. Rated X.
That the green light was given to a small team in the National Gendarmerie Intervention Group. I am told there is one Israeli that is on the assassination squad and that plans were formalized. Again, this person provided concrete proof that they are well placed within the French government apparatus. Further to this point, this person states that Charlie Kirk's assassin trained with the French Legion 13th Brigade with multi-state involvement.
Okay, so well, here's the truth, and I know what people say, well, you're going to believe the government. No, not necessarily. The French Ministry of Armed Forces, they issued, obviously, a formal denial. He was never a member of the Legion. There's no training that involved him. There's no record of him, and there's also no record, as far as I know, of him being in France or speaking French. So, let's assume they're lying. The question is, and this is going to be a central theme, where's the evidence? Where is the evidence that he trained with the French Foreign Legion? Which brings me to another one that people just sort of skimmed past. Did he train with the French Foreign Legion? Or, 2B, did he train with the Mormon Communist Beehive cult? Because that was the claim. That Charlie's assassination was part of a hive-minded communist Utah conspiracy of...
What's up? Welcome to my channel. Like, share, subscribe. Tell me your stories.
Body would have recognized outside of people who know what it meant. There's imminent danger coming, okay? It is relating to a school. I think it's a communist underground, and I don't know why it has something to do with bees. Then came September 10th. Obviously, Charlie lost his life, and a few days later, I was told, and I sensed instantly that there was like a hive of people that were involved in this. I just knew it when it happened. I just went, oh my goodness. Utah recently, extraordinarily, did modernize their bee flag. I had no idea, and I believe that they find these candidates in schools. I really do. I think they find these candidates in schools, and so I wanted to express that to you.
Okay. So there's no truth. You just moved on from that one. But my question is, all right, did he train? This is a real question. If I actually was trying to get, let's say that we had no information other than the Fed saying, Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk, I would be absolutely asking questions, very broad ones.
What's everyone
We have
up
other
to today?
information, so I feel like it narrows some information, notably presented from the defense. But I'd be asking the questions. I go, wait a second. Did he train with the French Foreign Legion? Or did he train with the Mormon Communist cult? And why would he need to train with any of them for which there's been no evidence provided if goalposts move, we go to the final one? Well, why would it matter? Why would it need to be trained? Because Robinson was never on campus at all to begin with. He was purely the patsy. That is the claim that Candace...
Yeah, well, I didn't watch the actual video, but I watched the highlights of it. It's pretty weird. Don't know what's going on with the dude.
I think he's a total patsy. I think they get lookalikes and they get everybody wearing the same outfit.
So, a lookalike from the French Foreign Legion or the Mormon Communist Gates? I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm asking questions. I want to know if there's a Mormon Communist Beehive / fag cult training assassins. I'm probably at risk.
No, there is. They're not gay though.
They're not gay.
No, they like women.
I was gonna say, what are there holy undergarments? They just basically a
I don't know that
love
much.
I don't want to offend them, but I'm not offending Mormons. I'm making fun of the gay communists. So, her claim here, he wasn't there at all. Well, why would he need to be trained? Well, here's the truth. There was a preliminary hearing, and there's far more evidence.
No, I'm Asmongold. Come on, guys.
There are many examples of him. No, I get it. People say there's no footage of him directly on the roof taking the shot that we have seen, but plenty of footage of him on campus. By the way, other people confirming that it was him and him confirming it through his text. But I understand all of that is suspicious because of the French Foreign Legion.
Oh yeah. If you want to see my gameplay, I'm on Twitch right now in my bio. imatrippacific.
Walking on the Utah Valley University campus.
This particular vehicle belongs to Mr. Robinson.
Information that was provided in regards to driver's license and Department of Motor Vehicle records. The vehicle fits the description of the vehicle owned by Mr. Robinson.
What do we see now?
That's the vehicle exiting with Mr. Robinson driving the vehicle.
O'Doyle rules.
So this is significant, right? He shows up early in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, and is sort of scouting the place out.
He's noticeably wearing different clothing.
He is wearing different clothing, and he also is walking with a gait or a limp in this video.
With a gait or what?
A limp.
Do you see Mr. Robinson now?
I do, yes. He's just arriving at the corner of the building. The almost
They
top
say
center of the image.
that
Who
weird
is he
looking
now?
motherfucker.
When Mr. Robinson
Here's
arrived,
Mr.
jumping
Robinson,
off
he's
of the
looking
roof of
weird
the
and
low-seat
shit
floating building
already.
onto the grass area, and then moving away towards Campus Drive.
Okay, so we've walked through Egyptian planes, obviously incorrect. She never explained it. French Foreign Legion, obviously
It's a any.
Mormon Beehive cult, never explained it. He was never on campus. All of his images, I believe she explained that. Well, no, clearly that's not him because it's the wrong height.
Nah, fuck Los Angeles.
Here's the one thing I would say. Like I said, I accepted the debate a long time ago for several reasons. And I knew that she wouldn't do it. I'm very surprised that she's doing it right now. Hats off to her for doing it. I mean, she gets a nice payday. Doesn't really matter when your husband is a heir to the House of Lords. But here's one thing I will say. Whether Candace gets information correct or incorrect, we all make mistakes. She has no problem, and I can prove this. She has no problem flat out lying for clicks. And I mean knowingly lying and misleading her audience for clicks. How do I know this? Because I experienced it firsthand in a way that would have cost me millions of dollars and my career. The Nashville Manifesto.
Community service. What's up, Tamim? You know? Yay, no?
No, by the leftist media, which Candace tried to do, until they acknowledged that it was real, and then they said the fact that this was real, the fact that these people have it, is going to be harmful to the family, so we were threatened by a lawsuit with the Nashville police and investigation from the FBI, okay? During that period of time, Candace made this claim that our scoop,
thank you.
our actual pages from the Nashville Journal, Audrey Hale, that they actually were incorrect.
What's everyone up to tonight? Did you guys watch the Candace debate at all?
Didn't hate Christians, crackers, wasn't a radicalized trans person, just like Taylor Robinson isn't. She was actually sexually assaulted by her father, who, by the way, is a real person. Keep that in mind.
I'm going to say allegedly a lot because it's important for you guys to also understand that I physically did not see these documents, but I trust the person who did physically see these documents, or else I would not be reporting this to you. Now, the police collected a lot of inventory, a lot of property from Audrey Hale. I'm just going to remind you guys, this is just a few pages of some of the stuff that they collected, 7 journals, 1 journal. You see, I'm showing you this list of the inventory seized, 11 home videos, bags with Target empty ammo, 2 journals, a suicide note, passwords on sticky notes. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And again, that is what gave me pause in trying to understand what other information they had. Amongst all of this inventory, what the source conveyed to me is that Audrey Hale claims to have been sexually assaulted in her youth when Audrey Hale was a child. And I think that that is a very important...
Shout out to Nick. Would you sell it and ship it? Sell what?
On this show, on this podcast, talking about transgenderism.
Okay, now here's the truth. And she also claimed in that clip, I'm glad that...
What's up, Nolan? How you doing?
As though we didn't. There's no mention whatsoever, there's no evidence whatsoever of Hale having been sexually assaulted or abused. As far as we know, it was completely, totally fabricated, but Candace moved on once the pages that we had were confirmed, both by our allies and by our enemies, with lawsuits and investigations from the FBI. Though, don't forget, also subpoenaed by the ATF, I'm a Fed from Candace. Here's the other claim that she made, and I can prove to you that she said that the Nashville PD sold the documents to My Club Undercover.
I think you are a woman, and you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Not. Our source is still as safe as a baby in their mother's arms. And by the way, Mud Club Undercover, we do actual journalism. It ceases to exist unless you join up. We don't have nonprofit money. We don't have donor money. We don't have any other investors. I own 100% of what you see. You can buy Foundation, the other company that I run, multivitamin or creatine, you can join up. We are actually supported by viewers like you, and we will go to jail to protect our sources. Everything she said about that was wrong. It was fabricated. It was a proactive lie, along with other personal smears she issued, but we don't need to get into that. So I have firsthand experience with her willingness to lie. It doesn't mean that all these other claims have gone through are lies. You just have to allow for it. And that's why I'm hoping that we get the truth today. Is there an update at all? Or they're a little late?
They're working on it now, doing some final touches.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the right stream up, and
okay,
we're just waiting for them to begin.
So do we want to go? Let's go through this.
for a gift, I'll play a song.
No, I wish.
Is he talking?
Finish this mimosa. No, nothing's happening yet.
All right, guys, look, we're 7 minutes late. If we're going to be 7 minutes late, come through, it's 14 minutes late. Okay, look, that's 200% times that we're late when we should have been on time. Also, hey, look at the biceps, but I've also got big triceps, which is 90% of the arm, so that's a lot of the arm. I got a big arm. Anaconda 3, sequel, let's put it up. Jared Buckheimer, give me a call.
Can I just say that we've got our first Crowder called it? You did call out the stereotype already.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I did call it. I said I bet you they'll be late, so hit it. Why is it hitting me?
I don't know. It's hitting all of us.
We can also take a...
Thanks, old Doyle. What's up, Uzi? What's everyone up to tonight?
Links in the description. Oh, I guess I have to... I'm not finished.
Beat the dungeon on Diablo. Celebration. Son Mogabo.
So, the prompts are, one side arguing, there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk.
What's up, pro prefer? I need a beat. Okay. What's up, Tim Yamal?
Claim.
Yeah, anal.
Evidence Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk and is being set up as a patsy. That's what was agreed upon. I think it's very important to hold people to their claims here, otherwise it's just going to be mudslinging. Let's go through the entire timeline here, because it is hard to sort of keep track. Okay.
That's me. I'm your coworker.
September 15th, September 16th. Go check out the references. This is where we heard the...
This is what I do in my off time.
Start with the claim that Bill Ackman staged an intervention with Kirk over his views on Israel because Charlie Kirk was very pro-Israel for most of his life. I do believe that he was becoming frustrated with donors who expected you to be more pro-Israel than maybe he wanted to, but that does not mean that he had changed his views on Israel as a nation. He has a very long...
Yep, I'm Jake from State Farm.
It was that Bill Ackman staged an intervention with Kirk over the...
I work at State Farm, too. Yeah, that's my dad. Tree Tucker Johnson. Judith. Andrew, Virginia. I don't know about it. I'm a little too young for that Ringo Starr shit.
Over the views on Israel and made some threats, blackmail. Here's that claim.
An intervention was staged by Bill Ackman because Charlie's...
I'm watching the live reaction to the Candace Owens debate right now.
Thoughts, Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no.
Rational, what have you. Now, all we really have is Ackman publicly denied it. You could say he's full of crap. I'd agree. You could. He may be. But she may be too. There really hasn't been that much evidence other than a meeting took place. So if someone says Stephen met with Josh to plot to kill Toolman because he pissed him off yesterday when talking about recording ISOs.
You're projecting.
And then you do have evidence that we met. Okay? Did we meet on that? Or did I meet with Josh to show him how to pack a corncob pipe that he just got? In other words, the fact that the meeting took place is not evidence. So that's all we have, even if that. Next claim, September 16th, September 17th, 25. This is where she made the claim that Netanyahu, Israeli government, obviously had put pressure on Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I watched the debate earlier. It's between Andrew and Candace, but Carter's doing the live reaction, so I thought I'd check that out too. But yeah, I thought Candace was kind of acting crazy during the debate. But some people think she won. But I still think she needed more evidence for her claims and needed to back it up.
Kirk, there was a large sum of pro-Israel funding. Now let me tell you this, I know that Charlie Kirk, this is what...
So the debate's about to start, he's just doing his beginning part. Let me fast forward a little bit.
Since the other day, and Homer revealed his weight was 240. And that's when I made a change in my life. I was like, oh shit.
Research is 220 something, 240.
Homer Simpson.
Okay, well look, we'll both agree to I need to lose 20. Because what happened is I gained all this fat.
Yep, I'm trying to get the next debate with Candace. I got evidence.
And then I started training again, and I gained back some of the muscle, but I still kept the fat.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I mean, it's not okay. You can fat shame me. We have pictures of them actually sitting down, right? So we know that this is
happening. There we go.
It's happening. It's happening. Hey, why is Patrick Bet David manspreading?
He has to. Noodles knows about this. When you have a hammer like that, you gotta spread those things.
How great would it be if his iPad is just recording the selfie right now? Oh, I get a good. Hey guys, can we get in edit in maybe the Space Odyssey sounds? We're making 42% like Drake of my big number right here. Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna my man. Let's watch the show.
Candace, Andrew, good to sit down here with you, talking to you guys about the conversation that I think started with
Drinking game rules, bring them up one more time.
I'm offering 300,000 hours. And for the audience watching this, you have to know when you see this final product, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind closed doors. There was still communication to
personal attack,
he's trying to sell a company.
Finish your drink. If
it's the last 24 hours that the deal doesn't work out, but kudos to both of you guys that you made it work. The topic of discussion today, how this got prompted is, Andrew, you said there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And Candace, your position was he's a patsy. Tyler Robinson is a patsy. So, of course, we'll talk about a lot of different things, but that's kind of how the whole thing got started. For the audience watching, I think this is truly for three different people. Number one is anybody out there that loves Charlie, respects Charlie, his legacy, what he did. We have a lot of love and admiration for what he did. He changed the lives of many people. Young men, young women. You worked with him for many years. You guys were friends.
The Fuentes interview Candace did where she scolded him. Yeah, I did watch that. When, yeah, it was a weird interview. That was a weird interview. I kind of forgot about that. Scolded him and then would interrupt the fact checks. In the interview, she was saying I know, someone was saying, someone in my chat said earlier, conservative versus conservative, and I was like, I don't even really think she's very conservative. She's just like an attention whore. She'll go wherever the attention and the clicks are at.
You've said a lot of good things about Charlie, respectful towards him. You guys may have disagreed on something, but you got a lot of respect for him. The second audience is the folks out there, you, that's watching this.
Also important to note, as far as claims, Andrew, just like myself, has never claimed to have been close with or friends with Charlie Kirk. And he was critical of TP USA and still is in many ways. Candace was close with Charlie Kirk, and all the evidence that we have is that they were not very close up to the time of his death, and he had put some distance. So only one of them is making the claim that they were still close. Andrew has not made that claim.
Channel, subscribe to the Candace Show, The Crucible. I'm sure some of the people from Crucible are watching as well, and the PBD Podcast. The more you subscribe to this, the more we're able to deliver these types of conversations to you. And last but not least, it's about the two of you. My goal is to speak as little as possible. 99% of the time it'll be you guys speaking, and the audience will be able to see.
99%. Okay, guys, you got to drink anytime. Like I said, he names a percentage.
Both have
because that comes with
in
the
the back. There's 3 people representing Andrew
Drink
and
anytime
3
he
people
says a
representing
percentage.
Candace to do fact checking. So at any point, if somebody makes a claim, the other can say, can we fact check this? I can jump in and say fact check this. Even the folks in the back can say fact check this. So it is a very fair conversation that we're having here. And so with that being said, kudos to Michael Knowles. Your name was mentioned a lot. You missed out right now. The last 10 minutes, we talked about you. There's a lot of love and respect here mutually from both parties, all 3 of them here. And then, of course, the great Joe Rogan that started this conversation. And he also volunteered, but it ended up being this format that we have here today. So with that being said, Andrew, your claim is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I mean by overwhelming is I just find it very convincing. I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence.
Appreciate you.
So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Many of you already know a lot about the events which occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over.
Oh yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Happy weekend.
On social media, destruction of memorials and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand for answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or 2 of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk. And the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence. That in his final days, on or around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platform dispute.
Jewish donor stereotypes. Fact check true.
From this scintilla of misleading
That's why I haven't taken
information,
them
it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war. Now that's a fun theory, and who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk. And if Candace has some, I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date there hasn't been any. There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him. No, he didn't come to me a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to the security team on September 9th, 2025.
Oh.
I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed.
Oh.
On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
By the way, personal experience, 2 people have been.
Whatever could he have meant
sent
by
very
that?
similar
Well,
texts.
I think he meant exactly
Gerald
what he
confirmed
said.
he's seen the text. It's real.
That he was worried the left was going to try to kill him.
What's that fishy wishy?
Now, we'll discuss this more later on in the debate, and maybe I have more never-before-seen evidence that exposes just how wrong and, in my opinion, idiotic many of these conspiracy theories have been. But that's what happens when you rely on what's called the evidence of the gaps. In other words, they don't have evidence, they seem to just make up evidence. And what did they make up? Well, in my opinion, kind of whatever lined the pockets. And I think it's ghoulish to profit off of the death of a good man. But we came here today to debate.
She's going to take
So
this
let's get
first
to
away.
it. The debate
Yes,
topic
just so
today
you know.
is 1, my belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and 2, Candace's belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson was a patsy and didn't kill Charlie Kirk. In some, the audience is going to decide who has more evidence supporting their theory. My theory is that the state is correct, that Tyler Robinson is a killer, at least based on evidence so far. And Candace's theory...
They both profited, but she definitely profited more. And she was doing ad breaks during the thing. It was crazy.
That Tyler
Don't like him, we'll already dismiss him because they'll say, he said the state is correct, he's a paid actor, just like I'm a Fed, even though I was investigated and subpoenaed by the FBI.
If it was reasonable doubt, and that's all
Candace is never subpoenaed and investigated by the FBI.
I wouldn't even be here having the debate with her. It's fair to have doubts, as the trial has yet to occur, and the state hasn't even begun to try to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. But Candace makes a more forceful claim. She claims that there's more evidence that Tyler...
Yeah, I'm curious how many subscribers she gained after Charlie Kirk died, and she started the conspiracy shit.
There's not guilty of murder, and was set up as a patsy than there is for the state's case.
You're looking handsome, bro.
And she will not be able to demonstrate that in any way. In fact, she has almost no real evidence at all of her theory, whereas my theory is supported by compelling witness testimony, physical evidence, multiple confessions, all of which are independently compelling, but which are even more convincing as each piece of evidence corroborates the other. You'll notice the term overwhelming was included in both theories. This is because Candace demanded I defend my use of that term, which I think is fair.
Free Top G.
Having the evidence against Tyler Robinson. She, on the other hand, only wanted to defend her theory as merely viable. That is, until I showed her clips in which she said she believed the evidence.
Well, actually, I posted, if you want to check out my ancestry video, I posted that. But I'm German, French, Irish, Scottish, Polish, Dutch, and Italian, a little bit, English, and 1% Sephardic.
The evidence of her theory that Tyler Robinson's a patsy was supported by overwhelming evidence. Only then did she agree to defend that position. Regardless, we're both defending the claim. There's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson is overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like, but if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making. Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying. She uses her considerable platform to relentlessly attack one of the most influential conservative outreach organizations for young people, and she's making a mockery of the online right-wing commentary class. She's harming Republicans in an election year by dividing them. She's attacking the very organization Charlie spent his life building.
Well, that'd be right in line, right? But social autopsy.
Yeah. I still don't know who any of my ancestors are, though. That's what I was really trying to find out from my ancestry test. I was trying to find out, like, specifically, like, where my, like, it told me the regions I'm from, but it didn't tell me really who my actual family members are. To make that kind of more complicated to do.
His wife, Degree 180, anti-Trump blog where she hoped that conservatives died, and an anti-conservative, anti-free speech doxing website. That does matter because her background does matter.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I think I just want to get to the substance of the debate, and I will just speak to the audience. I've obviously had an audience since we've been covering this case.
Speak to the evidence.
That there was a personal friendship between me and Charlie, and diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th by throwing it to this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that.
He said, I see overwhelming evidence, and the only evidence I see to the contrary, as far as evidence, is the pursuit of traffic, because there's no evidence.
Years, if you just think of the things that we've learned about our government. And I do want to say this. What's been the most disturbing element, I think, for everyone is that not only does the narrative not make any sense, which I'm going to demonstrate, I don't need to waste time with the preamble going through the points or trying to insult you or pretending that I've been running a podcast saying it's just dreams and vibes like I'm Miss Cleo. And that's the reason why it's taking so many influencers. It looks like $1 billion industry of influencers to dispute everything Candace says. It's not because I'm on my platform saying I had a dream last night. I don't think that I think that diminishes you as an argument. Obviously, we had presented a lot of evidence. You just presented a text message and said this is evidence. Well, that's how this entire thing began.
Fallacy, by the way. The government obviously has lied on some things. Therefore, the state and the defense of Tyler Robinson are lying.
One of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel. It's because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27-front war, felt that he needed to come do a little mini tour and to be, strangely, to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk, but nobody was having that thought that I can remember. Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. And then we had a round of influencers who lied
Plenty of people.
and
They were implying
said
Israel,
Charlie
largely
was
you,
not
and then people led to say
changing
Benjamin
our
Netanyahu. That's
Israel,
why he issued any
that
kind of
he wasn't
statement if that
having
statement
any
took place.
disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much, and I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having over the last, I would say, actually, on your show, it began since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so,
By the way, this is not a preamble.
when all of these things happen in immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that.
7 years ago, I'll just shut the fuck up.
Conversations that he had with
Black the
Charlie.
free!
Megan Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that, and they had said, hey,
goalpost move.
Yeah, Charlie
Goalpost
was
move.
starting to ask questions. I think
No one's saying he can't ask questions. We're talking about what degree of evidence, right? We need to take this back to the claim. There is more evidence that he did not do it, Tyler Robinson, that he is a patsy. There is more evidence that he pulled the trigger. No one's saying you can't ask questions. They're saying you need to answer questions at some point.
Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they...
I've seen some Tim Dillon. I watched some of his stuff. I don't watch him like regularly though. Facts of Fleas for his family Irish player photos. Yeah, you have to like you have to know some of your family members' names to really get it started. And I don't even really know my main grandparents' names. One of the worst. Who are you talking about? Imrania? Whatever your name is. Be a better commenter.
Lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say that I hadn't speak to Charlie since 2018, and it begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people after the assassination of JFK. So it's not exactly one that makes me nervous. Like calling somebody a conspiracy theorist is essentially saying that they demand further answers. They're not accepting the Fed slop. So I'm grateful that you can I don't need to, like I said, take cheap shots.
No preamble, shit, you get the evidence. Let's get the evidence.
Debate or your strategy. And I'm also grateful that you shared that you had that text message today, because everybody watching knows that I have been demanding not a debate, just an open conversation with Turning Point USA. They should be here. It shouldn't be you in that chair. It should be the person that took Charlie's place, maybe Erica Kirk.
Fact check, she did sit down and meet with Erica Kirk in private. And after she left, we can find some clips. She was very nice and said, so yes, I understand it, and we're good.
Just out of curiosity, from 0 to 100, what is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now,
Yeah, I wouldn't try that at home, kids, unless you're a pro.
5%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
With what we've seen in terms of the evidence,
Zero.
I'm at 0%.
So there's zero
not
meaning.
only
She's making a statement, just to be clear.
that maybe somebody was behind him as a patsy.
Tyler Robinson did not shoot Charlie Kirk. Also,
he didn't even shoot Charlie
percentage
Kirk.
point from Patrick McDavid.
Was he
Drink.
involved that day? As I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes, he was. I don't know what role
What
he
percentage
played,
was it? 90%,
but as the
40%?
shooter,
You say 0%, we say 85%. That's 42%.
for what? My
The
percentage?
fact that he didn't shoot until Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has.
Okay, what percentage
I'm
will
not
we get
even
to it?
convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day. based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
I do not think that Charlie was shot from a 30-06 from
Yeah, but just
Lucy.
shot at all.
I don't know. I think that a projectile hit Charlie, and I'm open to other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Can we see maybe if we're gonna have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're not sure if he was actually shot. You're open to alternative theories.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description.
But
If we're
0%
talking about
that
was
it
he
was
shot
Tyler
from
Robinson who shot.
A 30-06, I would say definitively no.
So I'm writing down that premise.
It defies common sense to think that.
Bro, I was watching this earlier. I was fucking freaking out like the whole time. It's just so dumb.
That he had a Superman neck, and even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated, I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Spell Hollow.
And she just rambles on, and then when he tries to come back with some common sense shit, she'll like get mad that he's like even asking her common sense shit. She's like offended that he's questioning her and acts all super defensive. It's so fucking cringe.
Hala steel cages and shot it, and it went.
Valhalla has gotten many bits of information wrong. Just to be clear, fact check. He was the one who said that. So Tyler Robinson disassembled the rifle, got on top, reassembled the rifle, zeroed the scope, disassembled it, jumped off, but left his rifle reassembled in the woods afterwards. He created a timeline that nobody actually believed. That guy's been full of crap in a lot of ways. He's gotten some things right.
There's some things that I'm going to make concessions on that I do think we need more answers on, and I'm fine with that, and we can get to those things as well. The other thing is in the timeline, one of the things that we dispute, I think, on the timeline is that you think that Robinson drove hours away to a steakhouse in
Yes.
the timeline. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the compelling evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen the receipts. I know the conversation that I had, and I think it's enough that it will be presented.
But witnesses saying they saw him there on campus
don't
don't count.
But yes, I do believe that he was in Panguitch, which is near his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner. But I want to, before we get into like all the timeline stuff, I want to address what you think is evidence so we can keep this on par with what your claim is. Since
Well, I think that that's a piece of evidence that's in dispute, and that's why I'm.
yeah, but
because
we're
not
trying to get
establishing
to
the
whether there's
timeline.
overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this.
Yeah,
So
if you
whether
wanna
then
use the
starting
first-
with
if you wanna use the first
Yeah,
part
no,
of
hold on a
that,
second.
the-
Yeah.
Overwhelming evidence needs to meet the standard of evidence, meaning something that would be admissible in court.
That I think
Does everyone agree with that?
evidence is-
Someone bring up the definition of evidence for me.
was found near the crime scene. So I would consider that to be very good evidence. And also the fact of the matter is that I dispute this claim that a 30-06 could not have made this wound. I think that that's absurd. 150 grain Remington core locks absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being.
He's
When
an
you say
armored
that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation.
Fix the
Why
gun.
wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bone?
it could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, well, I'm sorry, not a flex tip, a soft point round from a 150 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know. But definitely upon impact, and we have the medical examiner who confirms this in a summary. My team can bring that up, the summarization, which means he would have to be a part of some kind of conspiracy as well.
Okay, so just to start with your point about saying that the gun was found near him. Near
Evidence acts as a
Wilson
sign,
Center
proof,
or
or
I
ground
guess
for belief in a
Southfield
court
Woods.
case. It includes facts,
That
objects,
gun
documents, or
is
witness
what
statements
the-
used to prove a point. Witness statements would be under oath. A phone call would not qualify. So overwhelming evidence. We can be clear about our terms.
Watch the testimony that was given by the Caitlin Oliver, the ATF woman, Samantha Carner, any of those people who went into the science of
Yes, I recall. You're talking
the
about
bullet
when they-
analysis.
Yeah, when they went into the DNA.
Okay, so that's kind of the most relevant part.
Okay.
I'm not denying, I've never denied on my platform or anywhere else that a gun owned by Tyler Robinson was found near the crime scene, right? That doesn't remove it. If you think somebody's set up as a patsy, you could take a gun out of this room right now and you could walk out and plant it in the woods near a crime scene. That's not convincing evidence.
I concur with the fact that that's a possibility.
So I think, have said on the platform that you were a gunsmith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and for how many years?
Many years.
For many years. You also said that you were an Army sniper.
I wasn't a sniper in the Army.
Okay.
And I never said that.
Sorry, your wife tweeted that you were an Army sniper.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 15 years ago, she said something.
Does it change 15 years later?
She said that it was colloquial. So.
Army sniper?
Is it?
Yeah.
Shit, just froze. My cat's a Bengal mixed with a Scottish. I'm not sure how to. I turned the volume up a little bit, so once it unfreezes, let's see if it's better for you. It's because I just started streaming on Twitch, that's why it froze.
I was never.
Don't let her shift the burden here to something that Rachel Wilson tweeted 15 years ago. She meant to say that he's the equivalent of an Army sniper. He's a very, very good shot. I know this for a fact.
Rifles is private.
This is derailing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was an NRA instructor for many years alongside my gun shop.
As with your
Yeah, I could grab the speaker up for you.
expertise. When she gave testimony on the stand, Samantha Carner, that there was dust and there was debris that was found in the gun barrel. And then when we had the person who, and this was, I believe, Caitlin Oliver, who explained painfully about the DNA, the prints.
Well, let's start with a point in time.
I'm not done. You said something, so I'm going to finish my thought, right?
You want to do a point in time?
No, well, sure. If you want to respond to, I want you to respond to 2 points. I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5+ actually by the end of the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer a science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5+ prints, and among those 5+ prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded. So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints could be the most degraded when she said actually
we'll fact check
you could
this,
have
guys. You ready?
DNA on something that you've touched, you could have DNA on something that you've never touched, and to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces, items 20, 40 years on that don't have degradation. Yet Tyler Robinson's prints, amongst 5+ other prints, were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah, so let's get into all 3 of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing a rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
Okay, you think there could be debris and dust.
Yeah.
He just fired the weapon.
Okay. Not only that, he left it in a forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area,
Fact check, bring it up. Can a firearm be fired and there still be debris in a rifle afterwards? Just, I know the answer, just bring it.
Yeah, I get this one guy coming in here all the time hating on me, but everyone else says my places looks pretty comfy, so I appreciate it.
Up definitively, so we can provide the reference on our page for the answer is of course yes, but bring it up so we have a source.
He's, dirty rifle and it's all dusty inside the bore and you go fire it, you'll often look down the bore and there's still dust.
Okay.
Happens all the time.
Okay, and the prints?
Yeah, so the prints we don't know all of the details on just yet.
We do. It was excruciatingly long testimony on the prints.
We don't because they haven't gone to trial, so we don't know on the print front, but Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the
Fact check.
testimony, no, hold on.
Fact
First,
check
let's
true.
go to your first point.
Bring it
That's
up.
wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you
Candace
mean
making
you
the
don't
claim of
know
Lance
until it
Twiggs.
goes to trial about the degraded prints?
Dustin
She
Rifle,
testified.
Lance
This
Twiggs.
is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but the problem is that inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more of the DNA analysis in the trial, right?
But you also would agree that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded. So I'm asking you to address that. How could that be possible?
Let's give it, let's just grant this for a second as a possibility that his fingerprints were degraded.
It's not a possibility. It's a fact. The person who took
hang
it.
on. I'm just granting it for this.
Yeah, bitch, he obviously wiped his fingerprints when he fucking dropped the rifle off.
Sake of argument.
You should grant it because
It's not that complicated.
it's a fact that
so
she
now,
presented.
So now it's granted. So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Yeah, so what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them, you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that recently fired the weapon.
Yeah, so wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded.
I'm telling you
if
to
that's the
explain it.
case-
You're the gunsmith.
Well,
so
wait a
explain it.
second. How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory?
So
with
your answer
fingerprints?
is I don't know. You can just say you don't know.
But
you
I
don't
did.
have.
Questions when it comes.
All right, Mr. Rudd, we just walked out. What is your assessment of the debate and how it went?
I give it like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 for Andrew. I thought that what he wanted to accomplish was showing that she doesn't have evidence for the specific theories that she's been espousing and having to walk back several of them when being challenged and clearly not wanting to discuss it. That was really, I think, the important part of the debate. Thought he could, like, there was a bunch of legal questions when it comes to like evidentiary standards, which introducing in court. It was difficult to get through all that, so I hope people will forgive that it's hard if you're a non-lawyer to understand every level of that.
Yeah.
So there was some work that could be done there, but I thought he did a good job, a compelling case of defending the bare bones of the case and pointing out that there wasn't anything that I really saw on the other side. Remember, the topic was she was going to defend that there was overwhelming evidence that he was a patsy, and I left not seeing much evidence of that at all, if any.
All right.
Don't have to.
But I did.
No, you said so what? So
Yeah,
say
so-
I don't know. I
well, what
actually
would
don't
that-
have an
what would
explanation
that
for that,
prove,
Candace.
though, is my question.
Well, I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun may have used it more recently.
Did they say who else had fingerprints?
They named Matt.
Give it to me really quickly. Just on the.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah. You can fucking. I think I've met some people with, like, you know, pretty plain finger, you know. I've seen some people like that for sure.
Oh, no, not yet. Sorry.
And this was a
I'll
part
bring it up if I
of
need
the
to.
testimony where she was speaking about how they got samples of elimination samples from the home of Amber Robinson, Matt Robinson, and Lance Twiggs. Those are the 3 names they named.
So are you saying that Twiggs?
Would you like me to
fingerprints?
finish my statement?
I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
I'm trying to finish the answer, but it can't be clarified until the answer comes out of my mouth.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
this was a portion of her testimony where she was explaining how they got elimination samples from the home. And she named Matt Robinson, Amber Robinson, and Lance Twiggs as the elimination samples that she was using. And so she explicitly said, some of them, so we can assume 2 out of the 3, were their prints were found on the gun. She explicitly named Matt Robinson as someone who had prints on the gun, and then said there were 5 people that they had taken that sample from. And again, what's also relevant here is the earlier testimony, which came from the FBI forensics analyst, I believe it was on day 2, where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5+, it's really hard to make any sort of determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there's evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
Sounds good, man. I'm for it.
Evidence to support the claim that he could have been set up.
You're making me hungry. I'm gonna break open some more chips.
Because
I have
even if
gun
it's the
debris
case,
in about
this
12
doesn't have an
seconds.
explanation for it yet. That doesn't actually give you any evidence in
Give me
your
the
corner
quick
for
fact
Tyler
checks.
Robinson.
DNA on the towel matched to 2 people. Jennifer Falmina with the State Bureau of Investigation testified. One was Robinson's roommate, Lance Twiggs, and the other was very likely Robinson. She said Twiggs, a key figure in the prosecution's case, will not testify in person this week, but prosecutors have said they plan to introduce a recorded.
It's going good, man. Happy Friday.
statement.
I'm saying that it could be Matt Robinson, it could be Amber Robinson. That sort of information is going to
No
come out
testimony,
during
though.
the trial.
That's not the relevant part. Argued Lance Twiggs' DNA was on the gun, only the top. That's important.
And the information that I shared on my
So fact
platform
check.
is true.
Yes.
That this gun was given to Tyler Robinson as an heirloom. I had conversation with members of the Robinson family, Twiggs family, both of them. You know, like I said,
And then
we're
you
not
can
just
bring up
dreaming.
Hunter Ed right there.
And
Of
if
course,
we're
after
having those
any gun
conversations,
fires, there can still be debris in the barrel. As a matter of fact, it's a common warning because you don't want to fire when there's debris there. It could cause increased pressure, and that pressure can continue to increase as the debris can remain in the barrel. In some cases, build up more. You guys can bring it up and put it there in the minute.
because he's the firstborn. So, but he's not much of a shooter, is what I was told. And so he has this because he inherited it, essentially. So if I get something from my grandpa, I put it up on the shelf, and I own this, you could see that could be.
How do we get to the Patsy part?
You don't let me ever get to the end of the sentence, so how could we get to the Patsy part if I can't get to the end of the sentence?
Patiently till we get to
so that could be a reasonable explanation as to why there was dust in the barrel, because he doesn't often shoot this weapon, and he is indeed a fisher. And it could also be a reasonable explanation for why we have Matt Robinson's prints on this. Obviously, Lance Twiggs, even if he has prints on things, they live together, that doesn't really mean anything. But that could demonstrate that somebody took his weapon and put it somewhere. His prints are the most degraded. Somebody else's prints, there's more presence of somebody else's prints, and that could demonstrate that somebody is taking items from his house and putting it into various places.
But it also could demonstrate nothing. So the problem that you have here is that this is pure conjecture.
No,
this is not evidence that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. It's only evidence that you have conjectured up that, if it's the case that these are the more degraded prints, then therefore that means must be patsy because dad's fingerprints on gun. I
didn't say must be
Describe
patsy.
how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that. But to just go back to your point about this is not evidence.
Did anyone else
you
understand
can't
how
make
that proves
claim
that he's a
because you have
patsy?
The entire basis for why
That
you think that
potentially
there's evidence for
other
Tyler
people involved
Robinson
may have tried to clear prints, or that his prints were the least prominent. Is that about what I've heard?
meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
is the state. You said
Here's
you
that,
represent the
website,
state.
by
Well,
the
did you
way.
watch the preliminary
No, I didn't
hearing?
say I was
Terrible idea.
at the state.
The state's position you think is strong and convincing.
What
okay?
I'm here to do is represent my own opinion,
You
which
said
is
in
that
your opening statement-
based on the evidence presented so far by the state.
The state has
that I find it
presented
convincing.
evidence under Utah's 1102 rule.
But this doesn't demonstrate any patsy
No, that's very important because that rule is hearsay. So you can't say at the same time,
Great.
Candace, you're not allowed to, and what that means under the Utah rule, which I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means, is that the entire hearing was hearsay. It means none of that information that was presented is going to be allowed, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it is not going to be allowed at the trial. They're allowed to present when it's this appropriative
I
hearing.
don't think all the evidence that was put in
Fact
was
check
hearsay.
false. I believe what she's trying to say.
You didn't
Fact
watch
check
this
that
case.
rule, and what I believe what she's trying to say is when you have a preliminary hearing, they are determining what would be considered hearsay versus what would be admitted as evidence.
They want to go there. So they said there's a medical examiner's explanation of the shooting that's in the back. Rob, if you want to pull it up, and then Candace, if anybody from your team wants to pull something up, no problem as well, but they're requesting it. If you guys got it, pull it up so we can show it. And in the interim, is that it?
Yeah. So I'll read this.
Just what are we looking at, just so we know?
Yeah, so I would,
Yeah, so
that'd be an
the-
extreme
this
fact
says-
check and get that to Gerald. She just said, as you know, the rule means that it is all hearsay, right? Everyone heard that? No. That's not what the rule is. The preliminary hearing is used to determine what is hearsay and what would be admitted as evidence. By the way, every single thing that she has said, for example, my source, my phone call, would be hearsay and not admitted as evidence. Coroner's report would be admitted as evidence. Eyewitness testimony, if they are determined to be valid and have been there and could be corroborated with security cameras, would be admitted as evidence. Hearsay would not. It doesn't mean that the entire thing is hearsay. Yes, Noodles, were you about to say something?
Oh, no. They're going to be adding more things to the live fact check for you, so you should have it there in the document.
The summary of the examination said he was shot.
Okay.
That was what they were pulling that up for.
Okay, and I'm not disputing that he could have been hit with a projectile. We're not disputing that, so I don't know why this was brought up as a fact check. Could you bring up 1102 Utah rule? Because this is an unbelievable point that you're making by saying that I am not allowed to infer off of evidence.
You can infer. I'm trying to follow the inference.
But your entire reason, like you asserted that you believe there's overwhelming evidence on the basis of what we saw in the preliminary hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
But no, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm
The
just saying
entire
from your
preliminary hearing
inference, how
fact
do we
check
get to
was not hearsay. The entire preliminary hearing is to determine what is hearsay.
No, I didn't get to just shoot her from that.
That's why you have preliminary hearings.
Again, this is something important, so we should pull up a fact check about what the 1102 Utah, and under their constitution, for the sake of a preliminary hearing, they do not have to have hard evidence. They don't have to put people on the
I
trial.
agree they
swear
don't
them in.
have to.
But no, that's why the entire hearing was basically
And
hearsay.
according
Officer
to the
Bagley was saying-
rule,
all of it, like I said.
reliable hearsay, meaning the legal definition, meaning there isn't enough corroborating evidence for it to be considered hard evidence, is admissible at preliminary criminal examination. Okay, so they are determined
Magical.
it will be given. It's not to say that the entire preliminary hearing is hearsay. That's not what the rule is. She's either not understanding it or lying. We'll have that reference available. Link in the description.
Hour debate. Actually, maybe it was more than an hour debate before he sat, and they said this is not going to be allowed. You wouldn't even be allowed to do this. We'd be able to cross-examine him. The questions that they're asking Lance are all leading. And what did he say? Well, I'm the magistrate under Utah Constitution. 1102. It is my job to allow all of this so we can see if the state has enough here that we can then move to a trial, which will then they would not allow this stuff. They would say we get to cross-examine Lance. Lance
But
just
you're
can't
arguing
willy-nilly
things I'm not
say.
disputing.
No, but the entire substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence.
No,
That's what you're saying
it's
to
not.
me. When you say, Candace,
Here,
you
I'll
can't
give you
talk
the
about the degraded
argument
prince, which is
now.
a fact.
Yeah, I'm not
and then
saying
infer
that.
off of that
Didn't say that.
Tyler could have been a patsy.
You're just literally making stuff up. So here's what the position is. I'm asking this.
I'm saying that I think you let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. I am doing exactly what the state did. I am looking at a piece of evidence, and I am saying.
But you're not telling me how you get there.
Can you describe to the audience what Rule
Yes.
1102
So this, just so everybody who's watching us at home understands what I am saying, even if he doesn't. What Andrew is arguing is that I don't have the right to extrapolate from
Never
a
made that
fact
argument.
like
Just making it up. Just purely making it up. I'm asking based on
Andrew,
If she tries to say that Rule 1102 says hearsay is all admissible, or that it's all hearsay, that's a lie. And I'll
preliminary
show it.
examinations. The entire preliminary hearing that you just saw was on the basis of reliable hearsay. And what that means essentially
Not true.
is the people who are making the statements
check,
can just say,
fact check, not true.
Patrick told me that he did this on
Not
Monday.
all
Patrick's
hearsay
not here.
is
Happy Independence Day.
presented
Because
was
it's
hearsay.
just meant to be probative.
Happy Friday. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll send you fish from my country.
Case in point, that's a demonstration that's a demonstration of what I just did. I said the prints were the most
I'll send you a salmon in the mail.
is that it's plausible that Tyler Robinson was set up.
That doesn't.
Okay?
That's the point in contention.
That's not a point in contention. That's
the point in contention.
It's not a point in contention. If you're saying it's a point,
It is the point in contention.
it's not the point in contention. I'm telling you that was what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is
Great, but we're
describing,
asking you
that
now.
he is using to argue his case, is all based on inference, not fact.
Not true.
Inference, not fact. So they are inferring off of the
Not true.
facts.
So again, we're going to take this, and I'm just going to even grant it because it's irrelevant. I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
What I am telling you is it's the exact same way that when you tweeted, I think that this evidence is overwhelming. When they say that looks like Tyler Robinson's car, he drives a similar car, okay? They are inferring that that's Tyler Robinson.
No, they're matching license plates, car, model, year, and him exiting the vehicle.
It's not a fact. When you show
Fact
a
check.
blurry image, which you kept citing that we have
I'm
images.
talking about your inference that the fingerprints, even if they're degraded, equals patsy. How do you get that inference?
I didn't say it equals patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored, which is exactly what this preliminary was in the inverse.
That's not in dispute. What's in dispute is when you said, I'm using this as evidence that he could have been a patsy. I'm asking, how do you get the inference to patsy from that?
Because what I am saying is that it shows that somebody else had more DNA presence on that gun than Tyler Robinson did. So it is plausible, which is all they're doing. They're presenting plausibility based off of the facts, okay? It is plausible that somebody just took his gun and
Josh,
put it
remember
there.
that day we
That's
went to
it.
the range and
Not really.
used my Walther and I used your 911? 1911?
Yeah.
Sorry, not 911.
Yeah, that.
But my shooting quality was level of 911.
This is how the court process works.
Could go either way. More of your DNA on my gun, more of my DNA on yours. That's just how that works.
I like their song about
Anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot, and you could.
Rainbows or whatever.
I thought that was the whole defense, your whole claim
No,
today.
my whole claim was that there is
Let me give you one
more
more thing.
evidence that he has said.
Maybe. I don't know if you know this. I'm going to make a suggestion. Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you know. One of the most common things. You ever watch movies where spies or assassins kills? They do this.
They try to wipe the evidence. Yeah.
So he could have wiped the gun where his prints were, where the last person who gave him the gun didn't wipe. Would that be a reasonable inference? Would it be a reasonable inference?
On your own Twitter, that what you found to be convincing was something that looked like his car pulled into the driveway, a blurry image.
No, I didn't.
The standard white guy coming up the steps that could literally be anyone.
This never happened.
Can you get a fact check on that? Can we pull up his tweet where he goes over
I didn't
the
say
four?
that's what convinced me.
You actually didn't say it's what convinced me, but you said
Right.
this is the evidence that you found to be overwhelming, and you named, I believe, actually 5 things. I think you said it was his car. You said it was.
Well, there's multitudes of things that I find.
You just
to
said
be
you didn't say
compelling
it, so we're going to get a
evidence.
fact check on that. You did.
Go ahead.
You said the blurry images coming up the steps. Quite literally, when Officer Bagley testified, they talk about when I'm talking about making inference. This is the most I thought was the most absurd testimony I've ever heard. And pardon me, it was that
If you gift, I'll play a song.
they asked him a question. How did you know the guy in the maroon shirt was the same as the guy that came up the stairs later that was wearing the American flag black shirt? And he said, they're wearing the same shoes.
Why is that absurd?
That's how you decided these two are the same people. Oh, wow, what a scientific. They're both wearing Converses. Okay, that's an absurd thing to say. That is not evidence
Here's
that these are the
This
same
is the
people
problem,
if we're
too,
both
with,
wearing Converses.
making partial
That's what he
claims.
said.
That's not the only thing. Let me change one thing for you. This wouldn't be presented until you get to court, and I know this because I've been through it. There's a forensic audit of the phone. Geotagging. We have the admission from Tyler Robinson. We have the footage where it looks like Tyler Robinson. You have the same shoes.
Read the thing.
To track where his phone was in relative proximity at that point in time. They're going through that now. All of that is a no?
They're both wearing Converse.
Yeah, I'm not sure if in context that's what happened, but
It
even
is.
if it
You
is,
can get a fact check on
but
it.
even if it is,
Can we fact check? Is that the only reason that he said it was the same person? Fact check that for me, guys. Was it the only reason? Because that's what she's implying. And again, 1102 procedure of the Tyler Robinson case is to allow prosecutors to establish if they want to use reliable hearsay without having to call every single witness to testify live, meaning probable cause, reliable hearsay. You know, the stuff that Candace talking on the phone with someone in no receipt wouldn't qualify for.
What I'm looking for is the logical inferences that you have that Tyler Robinson's a patsy based on the totality of evidence that you have.
We can keep going through your other evidence. We should find his tweet where he lists the reasons that he was convinced.
So let's start with the 30-06. I think that's fine.
Your team's looking for. Do you remember how long ago that was?
The tweets of the 5. Did you delete it or no?
No,
Did you
I don't
delete
delete
tweets?
tweets.
Okay, cool. I just look for. He said
Personal attack,
it was his car.
Did you delete
was
it?
His,
The implication there.
Tough guy.
Drink?
It was the car, and it was definitely the staircase photos, and it was when the trial was
Okay,
going
she
on.
has it. Perfect.
She
If you,
has
can,
it.
if you got, Skylar has it. If you want to pull it up so we can see it.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Well, just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not an exhaustive.
Yeah, but just 5 seconds ago, you should concede.
You said I only said this one thing and said that was overwhelming.
Just to be clear, the Converse helped. They're also matching blue hat, sunglasses, jeans, American flag shirt with the other ones, depending on the time. So there are multitudes of matching attire.
So
Why are you pivoting? But just say you were wrong. It's cool to just say I was wrong. I can say it.
I'm not wrong. So back to the tweet aspect here. It was really funny. That's not an exhaustive list of why I find it.
I didn't say it was exhaustive. I just said you said it.
And on top of it,
you said
you didn't.
You said it was his only
only
Move the goalpost.
one thing, and then said based on that it's over. Well, I didn't.
She's trying to say that's his only case. It's not. He was saying in that instance, it's much more convincing than Patsy.
No, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that, moving over to the actual evidence itself.
Are you
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to the
I wasn't
evidence
gonna ask if you're
itself.
okay.
Yes,
Actually,
I'm
I'm
fine.
glad you're asserting that you're
But
okay. I wasn't worried about your health. I'm just saying that I just said you tweeted this. You said no, I didn't. We got a fact check, and now you're like just gonna gaslight me and pretend that I
There's
said
no gaslighting.
It wasn't exhaustive. I never said that. I just said you did say this.
Zero gaslighting.
I didn't say you couldn't have said more, but I would like to address what you said in that tweet.
Did he say I never said that?
No, you said I never gaslit you.
No, before that, you said you just said you never said that.
Your Twitter was
Just don't get lost in it. Go, okay, let's go on to the French Foreign Legion, whatever it is.
That's not actually, in fact, what happened in that exchange. I was here for it.
So what's your position here?
Yeah, so my position is that based on all of the evidence, which has been demonstrated, at least all the evidence to my knowledge, that I am actually not seeing anything that's compelling as an alternative theory. I'm not seeing anything which is convincing me of something otherwise than what the state is presenting as evidence. That's my position, if
Okay.
that's what you're asking me.
So just going back to what you did actually tweet, is it fair for me to ask questions about that?
Is that the only tweet you're going to ask me about?
Well, we're addressing your claim that the evidence is overwhelming, and this is a tweet where you listed what you felt was overwhelming. I think that's fair,
but not
right? I feel like that's fair.
but not exhaustive. Just so you know.
And I never said it was
Okay.
exhaustive,
Go
even though
ahead.
you said I did.
Sure, whatever you want.
But yeah, so going back to that, all of that, as you say to me, well, Candace, why are you addressing and making inferences off of the
And by the
testimony?
way, you guys can fact check me. They didn't match the license plates. They didn't have the quality of it. I was just giving examples of how you would match a vehicle, but you can fact check. You can fact check me because I said that I want to make sure that I'm clear. I spoke off the cuff. Like they wouldn't just say, "Hey, this one piece of evidence." So there you go. Fact check me.
Is that you permit yourself to do it, and then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy, right?
No.
How are you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah, so in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, because, I mean, we'll just use this. If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you
I'm
make
trying-
everybody, you
that's
call that
literally what I'm
conspiracy. Let
trying
me
to
finish my
explain to you.
sentence. Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference why I think it's Tyler Robinson, is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
She'll just say that those were
I
planted.
actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I
Yeah.
don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but it was close to it.
Yeah, I think that's
By the
not
way,
right.
Fact check, true.
Twigs
He did say
himself-
something to that effect. I'll be seen on the security camera footage, something like that. I remember.
Maybe a tiny bit of doubt, but it sure looked like Tyler Robinson inside of this various surveillance footage that he saw.
So Lance, sorry.
Hang
Go
on.
ahead. You're
hang on.
right.
So there's multiple reasons why it is that I believe that that's Tyler Robinson, not just because of blurry footage.
Did you have a dream? Just kidding.
No, it's because I combined multitudes of evidences.
Okay, so let's address those multitude of evidences. The first one we're working on a fact check on because I do
Personal attack.
not ever remember him tweeting.
It's not an
that
attack
to
if
me.
you guys care about a dream because she said it. He's never said he had a dream.
That's me in the staircase. I think that I
I didn't say that. I said I literally didn't. What I said is that he texted over, "You'll be able to see me in footage at UVU," and I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Yeah, could we get a fact check on that?
You
The
can find
second
it.
thing you said
Yeah,
was
guys,
Lance's
extreme fact
testimony,
check, get that to
where
Gerald.
actually what Lance says is of what he wears. Again, pointing out the absurdity. He wears Converses. He wears sneakers. If his boyfriend is not 100%, I'd like to
That
understand why
inevitable,
Andrew Wilson
by the
is
way,
overwhelmed
text,
by it. That's
expect her to move the goalposts and say, well, these all seemed really staged. That's what I would expect.
would not be permitted. This was a huge part of the preliminary hearing, that they were leading. All the questions that were asked of him were leading, so they would be struck down at the actual trial. And also, I would like to remind you that he got use immunity for that. Use immunity.
I understand.
Which means like
that happens, by the way, all the time in these
and
cases.
I'm wondering why it particularly happened for Lance and this testimony. And I would also like to point out that something that's remarkable about this, again, leaning to my perspective, that Lance has a lot more, which I have said many times, Lance has a lot more involvement than the feds are letting us know. I think more is going to come out because they interviewed him on September 11th, and then for whatever reason, just ahead of what was supposed to be slated as the preliminary hearing, which was initially supposed to be in May, they bring him back to do this interview, which in my opinion should have never been allowed. And I actually agree with the defense that it's a violation of his constitutional rights not to allow them to have cross-examined him. But I understand Utah 1102 do what you do. It's all hearsay. But to allow it in that way for him to just be able to also have use immunity, knowing that he's not going to get in trouble. He could literally get up there and lie about anything, and he's not going to get in trouble because the use immunity was given to him in April, I believe. April 28th is when they gave that testimony to the defense. I think they shot it in like April 20th of 2026. That is not compelling to me for somebody who has use immunity to give a testimony and to say, I'm not really sure, but definitely like he wears jeans and stuff.
That's not what he said.
He did actually. You can get a fact check on that.
Yeah, that's
Skyler,
not.
I think
He said
pulled
much
it up
more
if you
than
wanna.
that.
So a couple things we have. We have Rule 801, Tyler's messages, that says it's not hearsay. But first, go to what Candace is asking about, Skylar. I think you have it. You just texted me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen. Thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for a fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember.
Well, I'm just saying to you, like, I'm trying to be concise for you.
And then also bring the 801 that you just said. What was the other one?
Yep, the 801. Tyler messages saying it's not hearsay, if you have that as well. There you go.
Wait, what are we saying is not hearsay?
Statements that are not hearsay. A statement that meets the following conditions is not hearsay.
It was hearsay. They said it in the trial.
Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Is consistent with the declarant's testimony and the declarant denies having made the statement or has forgotten, or is consistent with the declarant's testimony and is offered to rebut express implied charge that the declarant recently fabricated or acted in recent improper influence or motive and come on. That
when you tweeted Erica's too retarded to kill her husband, would you like to explain how you developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew? So and by the way, what dramatically transformed your opinion of Erica after going to the headquarters? Because you were pretty hostile about.
I wasn't hostile towards him.
You don't think calling somebody too retarded?
No. Come on. That's like normal tongue-in-cheek stuff for me online.
Oh, you're being tongue-in-cheek.
Usually when I call someone retarded, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, yeah.
That's the funniest part of the debate, probably.
And testifying. So then, wouldn't that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the issue with his
I just want to make sure. Would that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the opposing party, which down the line, like I said, they talked about this for about an hour and a half, and they discussed how if Lance was in court and he was giving his first party, giving his testimony as the party, whatever, all of this would be fine. They had an issue with how the questions were being asked and that they were not allowed.
Shit's crazy.
To cross-examine him. So that is why his video testimony would not be accepted in the main trial. And what I said to you is this entire preliminary hearing is under Utah's 1102. So they are allowed to just use hearsay. And
No,
so
you didn't say that. You said most of it was hearsay, actually.
Yeah,
the overwhelming majority.
Well, I mean, I'm leaning now into my opinion that some scientific aspects, which they kept asserting, like the federal rule 403 or 402, some of those parts were quite
Sounds
scientific.
like you're backtracking quite a bit.
No, I'm not backtracking at all. What do you feel like let me help you. Where do you feel like I'm backtracking? It literally was done under Utah's 1102.
Yeah, nobody disputed that.
Okay.
What the dispute was is whether or not most of it was overwhelmingly hearsay.
Yes,
is that the case?
it was. Yes, that's a fact. I'm not backtracking on
And
that at
one
all.
of the things.
How many times did you, if you watch the video here, it's like they constantly, I'm 1102, 1102, 1102, 1102, 1102. And the reason for that is because it's allowed. I'm not saying it's illegal. It's allowed at this stage, but I'm just reminding you that when you're going to sit across from someone and your claim is going to be, where is your hard evidence? This is what I heard and I agree with what I'm watching. You are watching the state put on a hearsay preliminary hearing, and all of those things are not going to be allowed, right? Even when they got into witness statements and things of that nature. There's a reason why they swear you in and they say you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Did you, write this statement? So it's overwhelming majority of what you saw was hearsay because other people were representing other people's statements. They were saying they had conversations. We don't know where it came from, all allowed at this stage. Okay, but it's hearsay. So
but even a lot of that stuff may not fall under hearsay under what we just read, right?
Yes, exactly. The point is, this trial, you guys can bring it back up. They are determining what is reliable hearsay, and what they would do is exactly what, whether you like it or not, what Andrew just said. It would be a combination of evidence where they would go, is this reliable hearsay? Meaning, does this match up with other pieces of evidence that we have where we could include this and we don't need to call them as a witness at trial? This is not new. This is not unique. That happens all the time. And it's often not given as much credence as hard evidence, of which Candace has presented none. She's presented hearsay that wouldn't be granted as reliable hearsay. Someone called me, showed me a receipt, but I can't show it. They go, well, this person claimed that they saw him, and there is, this is an example, there's security camera footage that matches up with that matches up with what he texted. That would be more reliable hearsay that could be admitted, basically as an adjunct.
That's not the only thing I've ever said on my Twitter case.
Right, but the question that was asked of you was pretty direct.
Yeah.
Right? What did you find
this
to
is
be...
not an exhaustive list of all the things
Well, that's
that I
not
find
what you said
convincing.
in the tweet. You can tweet longer, too. It's not like we're limited now to 240 characters anymore.
So anything
that Tyler Robinson said, has that been gotten to you guys?
Other tweets that I've ever made
Where he said, very likely, they'll see me on the security camera footage.
Overwhelming in this
Oh, wait, yeah. They brought it up on stream.
Yeah, they brought it up.
Publicly,
It was part of the.
What did she say?
Is what informs my
Like, oh, I didn't notice that. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, she said a lot of things and they were talking over each other.
This is Andrew versus Andrew. Somebody asked you a question. What are the points that you find to be the most overwhelming? And you answered.
You mean from that day, from that particular day of the hearing?
So guys, let me ask you this. Would it be fair to judge if someone asked me and I put an @reply tweet, this is what Candace does, and I go, oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are things that I think are pretty convincing. If I had an entire show laying out all of it as we did with Tyler Robinson with the assassination, would it be fair to say, well, then you're adding to it, you're arguing with yourself? No, it's a tweet, it's X. It's not the same as a full program. She doesn't want it when people, she started this off by saying, well, these are people who have not watched my show. Okay, great. So we don't want to go just based on your tweets, based on your X posts. That is an X reply.
All of that is what I consider.
It's not the totality of his argument, the reason he's convinced. Same for me.
Okay, we should discuss the text message confessions when we get back, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Sounds a good idea.
Remember I told you?
Folks, we're going to take a quick ad
I
break.
said once we get there, she's going to poison that well and say, I don't believe any of the text
All right,
messages.
you guys, for nearly 2,000 years.
All right, so a commercial. So do we have Gerald calling in?
Gerald, we get a calling in
Fucking ad break on our show.
momentarily.
All right, then I have to put on my headphones. Well, we don't have a crowd called it yet because
You said she would do that.
I said she would do that, but she just said she wants to talk about it. So let's see if she does it. Let's see. Again, what I said is she will say, I believe those were planted. They're not real, which, hey, that may be the case, but that makes it really easy to not refute.
His head is so big. His head is gigantic.
Yeah.
I'm big headphones.
This thing swallows me. Golly.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have Gerald?
Yes, we do.
Gerald, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. I can. How are you, Stephen?
I guess she didn't give you access to the Wi-Fi. What's your feel of things going on there? I know we've sent you some extreme fact checks. Just so you know, my prediction was she would, once we got to the text, where she said, I didn't see those in the text, once they're presented, she will eventually just say those texts can't count because they clearly were planted. They're not genuine. It's to set them up as a patsy. So we're going to see if I called that. What else should we know that we can't see?
Well, I think you're right on the assertion that there has been some stuff that's been said that immediately right after has been kind of declined. Like, I didn't actually say that. Well, actually, yes, you did. So I think they got hung up quite a bit and got way down into the weeds and the nuance on that particular case.
Yeah.
But I think what you're going to see going forward is that Andrew's going to press and say, hey, yes, I understand what you're saying. But even if I can see that it doesn't get to Patsy, it doesn't get you anywhere near there. And I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of what hearsay is and why it's considered hearsay in one of those trials. But I think like everybody else out there listening, we got way down into the weeds on this. And I think that they'll start to kind of come out of that just a little bit. And really, Andrew's going to press very, very hard on why she believes what she believes. He's fine defending his views. Even if he grants some of the problems that she has with his case, it still doesn't lead anywhere else other than Tyler Robinson right now.
Well,
so that's what I'm really seeing. So.
That's what I was going to say. If I were to offer any feedback, it would be, first off, as someone who just wants the truth, Patsy is not the same as trained by a Mormon bee cult. Patsy is not the same as working with the French Legion. Patsy is not the same as Erica Kirk being involved, Israel being involved, Netanyahu. Patsy is not the same as a Trump cover-up. Patsy is not the same as Kirk's security chief. So I'd like to get to that because I did see, quite a bit going back and forth, and she tried to represent his entire argument as an @reply tweet. So that was like,
yeah.
Doesn't make for great TV.
No, definitely not. And I didn't think that was very fair either. And I think he was able to make the point, like, listen, like, it's not limited to just this. I actually laid out why I thought that it was more likely that Tyler Robinson did this than anything else. And I think he said 75, 85% chance that it would lead to him. And you have to deal with that. You can't go and say, well, you only said in this tweet right here, and it's Converse sneakers. Like, that's a tactic to basically say, like, hey, you're isolating one piece of evidence, and that's the only reason. It's like, no, it's the totality of the evidence. Remember, he said overwhelming means I find it convincing. He defined that at the beginning to make sure that people understood where he was coming from. Not that this was a 100% slam dunk, but it's convincing. 70.
Yeah, I got a lot of Mewtwo cards in that. That's might be my nicest one.
5 to 85% chance, and if you want that 15 to 20% chance to come up in your favor, you really have to show some counter evidence, and we haven't seen it yet.
What's the vibe like when the cameras are off there? Are they talking? Are they cordial? Or is it pretty cold standoff? And,
cordial before. I imagine things will get a little less cordial as we go on. Cordial before, for sure.
Okay.
But then as we got down to business, obviously, I think things changed just a little bit.
All right. Okay. Anything else that you have questions for us, or anything? Is our ability to get the extreme fact checks to you, is that helpful?
Nope. Yeah, everything is helpful. Keep doing that. I'm in the room with them right now, or when they're on there.
It looks like you're in a church
just make
basement.
Sure you gotta keep communicating. I'm in a garage to be, nice to everybody else around and not do a live hit right before everybody's walking back and forth. So.
He's in Candace's garage. Put the lotion in the basket.
There's the garage door open right there.
Put the fact check in the basket. You're sitting there talking with Candace Owens. You mean that great big black girl? All right. Thank you very much, Gerald. We appreciate it. I know it says that they will be right back. I am going to take a quick pee break. I'm sure you will as well. And we will continue.
Check this out. I got a Ninja Turtles magic card too.
Everyone go to the website, check out the references as we make them available every single show. And if you want to support more debates like this, you can go to the GoFundMe. We will be right back because they will be right back.
That's what that box is right there. It's the pizza box collection thing.
Josh, you have really gone above and beyond the pale this time. You went out into the open bullpen office and announced, all right, which one of you ladies is on the rag this month? I found your bloody crime scene in the bathroom.
I didn't say that.
All right, which one of you ladies is on the rag? I found your bloody crime scene in the bathroom.
That could be anybody.
If there's one thing people know about Joshua Firestein, it's that he can't stand the sight, smell, or general concept of menstruation.
What was I supposed to leave it there? Just laying there on the floor like some kind of murder victim? Somebody could have slipped, Sam. It's a safety issue.
This right here is why you are legendary. You turned a basic period incident into a full-blown office census.
I've received a formal complaint from every woman in the office, and HR me has to write out sensitivity training modules for the entire office now.
Sensitivity training? For what? For asking a question?
All he did was ask a question. It's not like he jammed it back up the culprit like rolled up fast food napkins, Sam.
And I even offered to get some gloves and help clean it up. Am I really being punished for chivalry?
Are you punishing him for being a gentleman, Sam?
Josh, you said the phrase bioweapon.
Time for a dab break.
The said bloodstained matter on the floor of the office with every female employee present, including our intern who just got out of college.
I never said bioweapon.
Doesn't sound like something we would.
Goddamn bioweapon!
Oh, come on. That intern's generation
Stay hydrated, y'all.
They should be so grateful that we are acknowledging their menstruation in all its glory.
Yeah, next you're going to tell us that we can't notice when somebody is clearly on the rag because it's body shaming. Meanwhile, the bathroom's going to look like a Tampontino film.
That's a good one.
Yeah, thanks. Look, I appreciate it. I took a risk.
Oh, you know what? This is one of the rare instances where it paid off.
Well, Sam, tell you what, to make you feel any better, next time I'll rephrase it. okay? Something like, excuse me, on this fine day, which one of you queens has left their royal crimson?
Josh, corporate wants a written apology as well as for you to attend the 3-hour seminar on menstrual equity.
Menstrual equity. Great. Sign me up. I'll bring snacks. And a mop.
Yeah, tell the ladies we're there for them. Just do me a favor. Next time, put a sign on the door so Josh doesn't have to go in and play True Blood Detective. Right?
That's another good one.
That's 2 separate HBO programs, guys.
Oh, get off it, Sam. He knows that.
But it's 2 separate programs.
It's 2 separate programs. That's what makes it funny. Oh, Sam. Your nose is leaking crimson.
Must be that time of the month.
It doesn't work that way.
I didn't know Jews did that.
Oh, it's a crimson Bible dreidel.
It's a little bit of everything. I do video games, music, current events, politics, comedy, everything.
Who goes there?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had some for my knee, some
All right, well, slow down. Why don't you leave the pirate doctrine to me? First, we'll need a diagnosis.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just in the gym. My knee's been acting up. It's been kind of inflamed lately. I was hoping,
Kind of inflamed. Well, let me ask you.
That's what I like about YouTube. You can take it in any direction. I thought about doing switching to like First Amendment content. Just fucking chill outside of a bank, film people, get big views doing that type of shit.
He didn't really flinch that bad. It's kind of right a middle ground, but I still think it'd be safe to abdicate. Where's my rum? Let's get...
What about that over there?
What about... There's no rum over there. That's just,
No.
I said it to distract you when I was about to take your knee.
Well, there's a
Hey, look, rum!
A bottle over there?
Foundation!
I got me a nice seat. I got me a nice cigar, snazzy hat. They call the place Alcatraz. I kind of like the sound of that. Sounds familiar. Al Capone.
Hers was 30 seconds faster. Let's go.
Defense did do was actually, before we got to the preliminary hearing, I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for sometime in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were requesting an extension and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted, because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an extension, but this was crucial, right? So forget just the general sense that these messages feel off, and yes, you are allowed to have an intuition, you are allowed to have a sense, and just go, this is very weird.
Called it.
We're being told this
Text
kid
messages
had,
cannot be counted.
4.0, Tyler Robinson, he wanted to get away. I mean, the text messages almost run head to head with themselves. Like, he wanted to get away with it, so he thought the best thing to do would be to text a full confession of what he did, down to what I didn't even remember, saying, yeah, and that's also me in the surveillance footage. It felt a little too on the nose. People have common sense. You just
Presumption,
don't text
not all
message.
killers actually want to get away with it. A lot of them don't think it through. And
If you want to request a song and interrupt the show, please gift.
afterwards go, you know, I'm probably going to get pinched. Not everyone is a serial killer like a Gacy who has a plan. Not everyone is like a Jeffrey Dahmer. Sometimes they're just people like, you know, the folks who run folks over in parades.
And sometimes they just want to impress their tranny girlfriend.
He's writing
or Jodie Foster.
Also, as a
1700
Helldivers
novelist.
player, he did actually get the 500K code correct.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, so we'll say that. If we start debating that, you'll be way over my head.
But yes,
but my point being
yeah.
is just that, first, it's a general sense of why people had a reaction to these messages that seemed like they were written by Jane Austen rather than like a kid who games and writes catch
Yeah, but do you see how that's intuition?
That is, I just said that. I said just parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition. You should actually do that. If you say the COVID vaccine is running out, feels like it's coming out too fast and there's too many celebrities telling me to do it, I'd like to take a pause, that's good. That is, you are allowed to do that. I believe in intuition.
Following intuition is not a
Hang on. Let me respond a little bit here, because you've been going for a minute. Let me at least respond to a little bit of this. So the first thing is like when people bring up the COVID vaccine, not trusting the COVID vaccine en masse was the science. That wasn't just intuition. That was the science. There was tons of competing science. Now they tried to suppress it, that's true, but there was tons of competing science for why you shouldn't take a risky mRNA vaccine and masks and things like this.
Kept telling us was 100%.
Now, when you're talking about intuition, though, when you say trust your intuition, I'm actually giving a different message. You actually should be very wary about trusting just your intuition. It is true that intuition can be useful, but it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and...
Believe you, Leroy. Hope you're having a good weekend.
It's the first step. Something feels off, right?
Okay.
That was my
Parking
first
aside
step.
the very first thing you mentioned.
Like the way it's being pushed. It shouldn't require a celebrity campaign, by the way. Another element of that is why people don't feel good about the Charlie thing. Why do we have so many influencers saying things? It's over. Why are you guys all
watching the debate of the lifetime?
Chill. Like, you could say, I found some
Kinda
parts
like
compelling.
FedSlov?
I think this should go.
Like
I found some parts compelling. Maybe we should, see at the trial.
If people
That
find
would be-
themselves in a situation that, by the way, is horrifying, let's say, wouldn't it stand to reason that the most likely adjective to be used would be, it was horrifying? I mean, everyone's in on it? Everyone is in on it if it's a script that would seem atypical or would seem out of context in relation to the event and or claim. I was overwhelmed is something that most people I've met have said. That's her proof. This is, by the way, this is all the proof that we've seen thus far. She said it's all hearsay, false. Intuition, but she wants to put it aside. Everyone using the same thing, so everyone is lying and in on it but her. Okay.
From the defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and we have requested all of this stuff in discovery. Yes, you are saying that you took Lance's phone, okay, and that you collected his phone on September 11th and that you sent it off or whatever. You took a picture of the text messages and we are being given these text messages to review. Crucially, Kathy Nestor said, I have not even been given access to my client's phone during this hearing. She said, I haven't even been given access to my client's phone. She can't tell you, as a part of their discovery request, it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace, and I say, I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what her client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in?
First off, did...
Let's see this video.
Jimmy Dore was awesome.
James, what's on your mind?
Hi, how's it going? I was on the call. It was a great show today, and I just think that
Jimmy Dore stopped by. How about that? Matt Tucciarone, Jimmy Dore stops by. Then we have the legal analysis of Octavia Levon. I feel very blessed today.
Jimmy Dore was awesome. We love Jimmy Dore. I was so shocked to see him on the show. It was a really good appearance. He's so smart, so funny, and.
Can you turn the show down in the background so that we don't hear it echoing?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, go ahead. What was the premise of your call? Got to get out of here.
Well, yeah. So I used to actually be a member of TPUSA about 2 years ago, and I used to attend. They'd have these after parties, and Stu, you just wouldn't believe what would be going on there. Some of these things, it was just really crazy.
Well, tell us what was going on.
I'd come to some of these things and I would, just a lot of homosexuality stuff going on. I would show up there and there'd be guys on their knees just blowing each other.
What?
I think you were there, actually. I think you were there on there sucking like 10 guys off. I saw you there.
All right, here we go.
Sucking 10 guys off. When are you going to...
No, this guy waited an hour and a half to do that. An hour and a half. This person waited on hold for an hour and a half
23, Michael Jordan.
to do that. These are the eternally online, I will never have kids. It's gay to go to the gym. We love the Jews. There's nothing wrong with Israel. Donald Trump is great again. Just kidding about everything that I said about Jews and Israel before. This guy waited an hour and a half to do that.
Crashing.
Who has that kind of time? What kind of loser has an hour and a half to stay on hold so that they can do that? And then Beardson Beardley, I found out, was yesterday's call because he clipped it. And then he's like, Stu rage quit his show. Actually, that's just the end of the show. We do the base report. I take a couple of phone calls. That's the end of the show. I didn't rage quit anything. I went to hang out with my kids, which is what real men go do. They do their work, and then they are a father because they have purpose. That's what they do. He wanted me to get all ragey with him. You know, he was rage baiting me. He wanted me to like blow up on him. Of course I didn't, because I just consider the source. It's a homosexual twink. And in Beardson's case, he's actually a pedophile. That's who these people are mobilizing for. Pedophiles, you know, Mexican, Sephardic, Jew, twink midgets. Actually, I think Beardson is who is like the biggest influence in Nick Fuentes' life. And that guy hung out just so he could have his clippers ready and try to bait me into some like yelling match, and then posts the clip anyways, like, oh yeah, big win. You spent 2 hours holding to do that. This guy spent an hour and a half waiting so he could say that I was at a Turning Point USA party. All right, dude. All right. Anyway, yeah, with that, so now I'm going to get out of here. Just
Get out of here. All right, that wasn't that interesting.
Did she's saying, I'm trying, Kathy Nestor, did she say that, and is that relevant? Has the defense argued that the text messages are inauthentic or that they have not been able to read them? Because the defense of Tyler Robinson would make that argument, of course. I know, because it's one of the most commonly made arguments. Have they made that argument? I know it's no, but I'm asking you to fact check it to bring it up.
I know that we have a capability because my husband does it. He has the capability to send messages from my phone. It is not convincing to the public when, for whatever reason, the FBI would not, FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault, they made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from. Because you're saying...
I said, Andrew and Candace agreed to do a long-form debate. Don't expect it to be quick, 3 to 4 hours. Most likely, Andrew's opening himself up for critique to defend his positions. Once that is done, he'll begin critiquing hers. So he wanted to give that note to the audience here.
Okay.
Just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone, and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend. That is a crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. Just as you feel convinced by
Hands
them,
up when you
I
guys
feel
got it. Has his
unconvinced.
defense argued that in any way? Have they disputed that the texts are authentic, or have they granted that they are authentic and it's been admitted into evidence? That's what matters here, because they would make the argument. Let's go.
It has not been proven that these messages are valid, and they don't sound valid to me. I don't think anyone, even if someone was selling like a, I don't know, pot on the corner, would be smarter than to write a full-fledged confession. He even writes, I thought I would get away with it, and I was hoping never to tell you until old age. And then we're being told that he wanted to commit suicide. And okay, but he just said he wanted to get away with it, but he's not smart enough to...
That tickles. Okay. Oh my gosh. Guys, let's log into YouTube Pro. Please make it go to another stream if we have to.
I'm in this surveillance footage, and I'm here, and I'm wearing my Converse. You know, I'm being a little facetious here, but it was a little ridiculous. It didn't pass a sniff test for me.
You have kids, and you love them more than anything.
I do.
If it was the case that you thought that your kid was innocent, wouldn't you be out telling everybody and their brother that you thought that they were innocent? And also, wouldn't you maybe recant and say, hey, he didn't actually confess to me. He didn't actually, none of this happened the way that the state is presenting it. What would have prevented the parents from testifying?
Well, two things. I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance Twiggs, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happens
So the
next
defense fought the admission of the text, but didn't dispute authenticity. Could potentially do that at trial, but during the July 2026 preliminary hearing, a State Bureau of Investigation agent took the stand and authenticated the messages, testifying about how they were photographed directly off the cracked screen of Robinson's roommate's phone and later extracted using Celebrite software. The defense did not cross-examine the agent. Accusations that the texts were faked.
So they were just trying to say, procedurally, since it was taken off of the screen, that they probably shouldn't be admitted. At no point did they dispute the authenticity of the actual text.
Yeah, but they could still dispute authenticity at trial.
Okay.
So
that the parents haven't recanted any of this.
Recanted what? They have no statement from the parents.
Wait, I just want to make sure that if it was the case that was being reported in mainstream media that your father came to you and said, "Hey, is this you? What's going on here?" And then he and one of his buddies took you in where you turned yourself in. You wouldn't go out and be like, "No, that's not what happened."
That isn't what happened, though. You're just wrong on this.
Okay, maybe I'm paraphrasing. What am I wrong on?
So what is your, sorry, just so I'm clear, where is your evidence that the parents turned him in?
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
You said there's the mainstream media?
I said with a sheriff friend.
Yes.
But the father did confront him.
The father confronted what?
Tyler Robinson.
And where did you learn this? That the Tyler
Well, I mean, that's
confronted
part
him?
of the official documents. Our fact checkers can pull that up. But yes.
But I'm saying, but when you say official documents, do you mean you saw this on CNN or you saw this play out in the hearing?
No, this was one of the things that I went through and fact checked pre-debate.
Are you talking about like the charging documents?
I think it was it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that on the back to pull it up?
I can already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because this is where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating under the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. Until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this.
They just sent in, I would rather kill myself than turn myself in. Robinson responded when his father urged him to turn himself into authorities, the source said.
It's okay. It's Friday. You're allowed to cry on Friday.
By the youth pastor who works for the Washington County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshal's Office, the law enforcement source said. So that's the sources, and then I would imagine they were also in the documents admitted to court. That would be the initial story, and it was corroborated. All right, so there you go, extreme fact check.
Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point, though. Why
it
wouldn't
truly
the
negates
parents,
the point, because you don't have a statement from the parents.
Yeah,
you are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct the
it's not correcting. That
misinformation?
doesn't negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. If the parents were the ones who said, I'm turning my son in because he's guilty.
I didn't say they turned him in.
I think you're talking about the over. You said it's been the narrative. Everybody's known this. The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him, and we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them
he's undercover
for 20 plus years, the police officers. The reason why Tyler Robinson knew him was because he lived nearby and he was also his Boy Scout
How
leader.
does this negate?
There's no claim that the father turned him in, by the way. No one's making that argument here.
They're making the claim that it was confirmed, but from information coming from the father. Yeah, so that it was confirmed. Not that he went to the police and turned him in, that when the father was asked, he said, I told him, hey, you should probably turn yourself in, like you just said. You read that quote. No one's saying the father went to the authorities and said, my son is guilty. When asked, the information came out, corroborated with the text, where the father said, well, I did tell him this.
We do have evidence.
And I'm saying it's the charging doc, which could have been derived
So
from the
again, if
statement.
that's the case, let's say you believe that he turned him in, and now you go, oh no, the father admitted though that he knew about this and advised his son that way because he had committed the act and admitted to him. Does that change anything, and how does it get us to Egyptian Plains and the French Legion and Mormon Beehive cult?
If you're okay with that.
Thing not in dispute. These are all things that I'm not even disputing.
Okay, so we don't have to show it.
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break because you were talking about the text messages as something that you felt was concrete. So it was just my rebuttal to you that it's not concrete because they haven't had a chance to actually answer that, and she didn't even get to see your client's phone. So that's effectively...
So fingerprints aren't concrete because his weren't the most notable fingerprints, okay? The text messages aren't concrete because they were taken from a cracked phone, even though the defense didn't dispute the authenticity. The father's admitting, when questioned, that his son did it, and he advised him to speak to a youth pastor, is not concrete because he didn't bring it forward and turn his son in. But none of those pieces of information, ultimately, the facts that matter in a case, are in dispute. Not even by Candace. Okay, continue.
Fabricated. That's the point.
So let's get to the
They just
let's
could
get
be
to the
somebody
parents,
else.
the parents fact check. That
Yeah,
was
so
the
I
other
was
one,
saying,
right?
I believe what you're talking about was derived from the charging doc, which was signed off by Brian Davis.
Let's pull it up.
Let's see if that's correct. What are we looking at
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, I'm sorry.
Can you zoom in a
Is
little
this
bit?
the charging
I
doc?
can't see it.
After this,
Robinson's
yes.
father reported that when his wife showed him the
When they're done
surveillance
with this, I
image
have
of the
something else.
suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle, which makes sense with the text messages. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home.
Yes, so this is proving my point. This is from the charging document, correct? Yeah, so what I'm saying to you is that 3 people got interviewed on that night. Mike Mitchell got interviewed, Amber Robinson got interviewed, and Matt Robinson got interviewed. Of the 3 of them, only one of them actually wrote a statement, which was referred to in this preliminary trial. He came in, I believe, in March, Mike Mitchell, and he wrote a statement, which I find to be very shady that they decided to bring.
But why aren't the parents disputing that?
No. Well, first off,
That's the question I've been
the
asking.
parents
That's
are
Andy's
not
point
going
the whole way,
to
by the way.
ever
That the father never
play
disputed it.
in court, play to the cameras in court when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison
But they're
forever.
playing to somebody else who's your source?
I'm not going to address that.
They're playing to someone else who's your source but won't go publicly tell the media
Yes.
this is not true?
Well, what I did not say to you that. I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who was involved and permanently sued. When I have to take my lawyer's
You've not
advice,
been
and
sued
there's
by
so
the
many things
FBI,
I
you've
want
not been subpoenaed by the ATF, and you lied about the Nashville Manifesto, the Covenant shooting. It was proven to be false. We have been subpoenaed by all of the above. You can support us by joining Mug Club Rumble Premium, just to be clear. Candace Owens has not been sued by any of those intelligence agencies for misinformation. She's sued by Bridget McCrone, and she's going to lose. She was countersued by her landlord because she claimed discrimination, just like she did when she was young, using the NAACP, claiming racism, and she lost to the tune of $17,000 from her landlord. She loses civil lawsuits routinely. You said you had something, Noodles.
Yes, there you go.
Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him a surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed it looked like their son according to the charging document. So they haven't disputed it. And here's the important thing. Remember when Johnny Depp Amber Heard was going on? You'd read summaries, right? You didn't always have the evidence. And then you saw the deposition. So you'd read the summaries of the depositions. Like, he then broke a wine glass, or, that's when she says that and then you hear the audio. Then you see the footage. Then you learn about the abuse. That's how this happens. That's the danger of things playing out in the court of public opinion. I know this because Candace tried to do this with yours truly, and what she tried to claim, very different from what happened in court. She does this very often.
On the basis of the preliminary hearing, that all came from Mike Mitchell. And Mike Mitchell would be a part, he's
Based
saying,
on the statements of the
it's
parents.
him saying, the parents told me this, the parents could dispute that. That's going to come down the line, right? They're going to be able to seat the parents. I will say this, putting together context clues, if the state had it on, 100% certainty that Matt Robinson and Amber Robinson said it, a 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence, and I can tell you why Matt Robinson made this statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That would also be a good time for the defense to say that's just totally fabricated.
No, it's not. It's the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not
You're
receive
saying that
discovery.
they didn't receive that information?
No, they just received the text messages. But in order to...
That's not the text messages.
The probative information.
Yeah, we're talking about the information that we just reviewed. That's not the text messages.
They never presented it. The state never put it on.
Yeah, they didn't. The defense could easily still have presented this, yeah?
No.
They could have said they're...
The defense never saw the charging documents? Didn't she just say charging documents?
Yeah.
So, of course, the defense would be aware of the charging documents and they would dispute it, right? She didn't say text message. She said the charging documents. Charging documents is where the person she's claiming is invalid said that the parents had said that. The parents don't dispute it and the defense did not dispute it. Of course, that would be included in the preliminary hearing. No one is disputing it. His point is no one is disputing it. These statements have been made. There have been multiple versions, corroborations, right? Pieces of evidence that would suggest these are legitimate. The defense has at no point disputed it. Okay.
would do it. In fact, when I
this is the
talked in
problem.
depth with
Facts
my
aren't
attorney,
facts.
they said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
So when in the document that they filed yesterday or a couple of days ago, the appropriate, like what you're doing at this stage of the hearing is the state is saying we have enough evidence that we think this needs to go forth to trial. Hence the reason that there's this extraordinary, we allow hearsay because it doesn't really need to be perfect. It can be enough that we feel like we can move forward, right? And
reliable.
okay, I disagree with that in general when somebody's rotting in prison, but whatever. The next phase is for them to meet in court and for the defense to essentially present an argument to the state that says, we find this filing to be defective in and of itself. We don't even have to defend ourselves because you, the state,
Hey,
have
would
enough.
George the Greek, who works for us, he's a lawyer, ask him if he would be willing to correct this because she's listing a process that's very likely completely false during the next break. I think it would be great to have George the Greek come in, who is a lawyer, who chooses to work here, by the way. He can make more money as a lawyer. Sorry about that, George. We can only pay what we can pay. See if he'd be willing to do that because he's pretty good at breaking that down.
Engaging
I got a letter from him, actually.
It's a hypothetical.
So the prosecution will only give the bare minimum to show probable cause. All the big details will come out for the jury. Candace is exploiting the legal system to create doubt. That's her whole deal. That's from George. Again, the preliminary hearing is not the trial.
Hello, I speak American, English.
He's exploiting this to say they have a weak case.
Right. They would be shouting it from the rooftops. They would be losing their minds. And you're like, nope, the gag order would be enough to keep them quiet. Not enough for them to talk to your source, but enough to keep them quiet. I think that that's quite ridiculous. But I'll even concede this whole point to you. Let's just say maybe this was misconstrued, right? If there's a little bit of reason to doubt it because we're still waiting for the evidence for trial. If that's the case, then why not take the same standard for the evidence that you present? You're just waiting for trial.
Well, you didn't do that.
Wait a second.
We're here.
Wait a second. I just want to make sure that I got this right. That's your argument to me, right?
My argument to you is what?
Your argument to me is that, hey, wait a second, Andrew. There's not enough here that convinces me, right?
Well, that's actually my rebuttal to you, is that you are saying, why are people engaging in what you term to be conspiracy theories?
No.
I term it to be thinking. They're just thinking because they're recognizing there are a lot of holes in these stories and that this is not strong evidence, right? This is the reason they're doing it. I'm explaining to you, this is the reason that they're doing it. I'm addressing what you view to be overwhelming evidence. And by the way, I want to be clear.
That which convinces me.
But thus far, every point that you've brought up, every point that you've brought up, did you feel like this is beyond a reasonable doubt? I mean, you realize
remember what I said in my opening.
Going to be.
It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just what I find convincing is what I find overwhelming.
So why are you so upset when people say they don't find it convincing?
If that was the limitation of the claims that you made, if it was just, wait a second,
because
there's
you
a
said
little
that
bit of
Erica
problems,
Kirk killed her husband and that he was training with crazy Mormon communists and the 13th Legion, and then Andrew Colvett was identified as a betrayer, and the three were destroying people's lives. That's why.
Anybody saying. In fact, I've had tons of Discord calls about this. My position's always been clear. Of course, conspiracies exist. Some of them have way better evidence than others. But I've seen them myself. I know conspiracy. In fact, the federal government has hundreds of thousands of laws about conspiracies. They see them everywhere. We both know this, right? That's never what the problem is. The problem is when you make claims outside of, well, wait a second. I'm just questioning evidence here. I'm just questioning what the state's case is here. I'm just asking questions. It's when you make claims outside of that, where you claim that there's good evidence or good standards you should believe because, and then it turns out that it's all nonsense or it's wackadoo stuff or it makes no sense. And when we have a chance to cross-examine your evidence that you've presented, I'm going to show a lot of that. A lot of this conjecture that's based on literally nothing.
Yeah, it is important to note. She is cross-examining him, so he is
you couldn't even
having to be on defense. This is her ability to do it, and then he's going to be able to cross-examine her. Hopefully, the evidence of
whether or not you just
all the claims we've gone through: Egyptian planes, French Legion,
until we get to the trial.
Mormon
I
cult.
remain unconvinced.
Sorry,
I'm sure there's tons of people who remain unconvinced yet until we get to the trial. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. There's people who are convinced too. That's never been my problem. My problem is the claims which are external to that.
Okay. not sure I really care if you have a problem with what I think in my own spare time. I don't understand this like lecture that you just gave. But beyond that,
Spare time.
what
No,
I'm saying
the
is
only
that
way that you make a living, by the way, while writing the book, Make Him a Sandwich and say that women should be at home. Moving the goalposts. That's the whole reason for the debate, is you defending your positions. He's saying he has a problem with them and he's going to critique them.
going back to you saying I wouldn't have a
You
problem.
certainly had a problem with his one tweet.
Demonstrated pretty thoroughly that what you claim that you have a problem with is exactly what the state is engaged in at this stage. So it just doesn't make sense.
That's not the case. In fact,
So if people look and they say, I'm looking at the gun and I see, and I'm inferring this, and someone else says, I'm looking at the...
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention, Courtney. Thanks for chatting.
Ask questions.
Right.
I'm not the one doing this. I'm arguing on behalf of everyone else.
No one did Egyptian planes if not for her. No one did the French Foreign Legion if not for her. No one did the Utah Mormon Communist Cult if not for her.
Yeah.
No one did Erica Kirk if not for her. Just to be clear.
It's the law of excluded middle. All propositions are going to be true or they're going to be false. When we get into when we're making inferences based on propositions. We can actually come to true conclusions with false premises inside of a proposition. In fact, what we're talking about here is not whether or not you feel that you're convinced by this evidence.
But you felt like you were convinced.
Right? Sure. But here's the thing. When you ask me my reason, Andrew, why are you convinced by this? I can give you my reasons why I'm convinced by it, why it seems reasonable and rational to me to be convinced. You could even say, but Andrew, I'm just not convinced by it. If that was the limitation of your claims, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's why I wanted to have the conversation, in fact, was so that we could move.
I'm good, bro. What you been up to?
Which transcend the idea of I'm just asking questions.
Before we get into that, your team has one thing they want to.
Summer is almost over.
Oh my God. Fix this during the break, so help me God.
Had full discovery by April 1st.
Oof.
They did not. That's not true.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
To date, the state's prosecutors have disclosed all evidence that is presently and reasonably available to them as required under Rule 16 Utah R Criminal, to be more precise, as of April 1st.
Yeah, that was not 100%. That's why they're caging that by saying what's reasonable. There was an entire, and we can pull this up. Like, we should now play the Kathy Nestor clip because that's
She said they didn't have the ability to cross-examine, to look at any of the evidence because they weren't given.
Tough guy. It's not reasonable that you're asking for this when we're going into a hearing that's just going to be based on hearsay and stuff and things of that nature. But of course, by the time a trial comes, you're going to get all the discovery
Where's the show
documents.
cause?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so that's
I'm even fine with
yeah,
it.
that we all know. And then, by the way, just now that the hearing is over, and you can also fact check this, they now at the end of the preliminary hearing dropped like an insane amount of the discovery stuff they gave to them like the week after.
Can someone give us a count? Maybe we could have AI do it.
Yeah.
How many fact checks has Candace's team presented?
Certain amount of stuff that they
It seems like it's been entirely from either neutral or from Andrew's people.
on my show is as we were watching that preliminary of the preliminary
60-40. I mean, I think she presented one.
engage in these arguments. Is I
know claims. I haven't seen many
wanna hear
fact
what they
checks.
have to say about the text messages. Why can't you just give them what they're asking for so that they can actually engage you? And it didn't happen. So, but the judge ruled that it wasn't necessary at this stage, and that was the whole point of that.
Because it's
preliminary
a show
to the preliminary. Yeah.
Would you like to play the Kathy video?
Well, he's saying he's not disagreeing, so I don't think we need to.
There's no
Okay.
disagreement that she said that.
Yeah.
So so I guess the disagreements
also-
now would move
I-
into the evidences that you have stated on the record, which transcend elements of reason.
Why are we
in regards
having
to this
a
case.
transcendental conversation now? Because I mean,
Because they're all related to this
your
case.
entire thing was
Joe
about
says he
looking at
doesn't
the
think that
evidence,
it's been
which
any
never
more
makes
than one
sense to
fact
me
check.
again, because
From
all
her?
of the
Yeah, from her team.
From her. And then compared to what? The 8, 9?
I don't have Andrews yet, but
Can someone bring up the definition of transcendental? Does she mean metaphysical?
what you're saying is
She
problematic.
literally just took one word he said and made an argument.
Yeah, I want to watch, but can someone bring up the definition? I think she meant to say metaphysical, not transcendental.
Hold me to those things, but I
Yeah.
would like to get into the
And
things
we should
that you
discuss
said.
the screwdriver as well.
So, and I'll explain exactly what the groundwork is.
Mhm.
When you make claims which pass the idea
the word
of just asking questions,
transcendental means going beyond ordinary limits, standard sensory experience, or basic physical rules.
Right, so typically, yeah, so I guess metaphysical, I guess you could say that they would be sort of interchangeable. Usually transcendental is kind of new age term used for transcendental meditation, means beyond the physical realm, right, in your mind, whereas metaphysical means something that would be exist beyond what can be touched, smelled, heard, like metaverse.
If that's the case, then I would like to finally dive into some of that evidence and dive into it.
Well, just to be clear, and I'm happy to have you talk about, like I said publicly, you want to engage in some conspiracies, but I said I want to make sure that we get to the substance of our debate. The substance of our debate is
the major
is me
substance.
Demonstrating that all of the quote unquote evidence that you feel that you have, which demonstrates that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
You don't find convincing. I get it.
Quote unquote evidence. You mean
by the
from
testimony that
the
we
court?
saw, and in your answer for when I
you haven't
explained to you that he had
invalidated
the
it.
most degraded prints was, I don't know. Okay, well there lies my ability to process that.
It's just fine for you
Okay.
to not be convinced up to this point. All of your viewers, everybody watching, nobody's
you're conceding
Nobody's giving
on
a
that.
dispute that if all your claims ever were just up to now, the evidence that the state's given, I'm just kind of not convinced. That is not what's been happening. What's
He said
actually been happening is that you've
75
made
to 85% chance
claims
Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
in regards to this.
She said
case.
0.
And in regards to the Kirk assassination, which are far above and beyond, I just doubt the state's theory.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sure.
And those are
I
the
do
things
doubt. I
that
do doubt the state's theory.
No, that's
I
not what he's
also
saying.
am
Tell me
welcome
the other claims. We know you doubt.
say
He
what I
already
think,
granted you
know,
doubt.
if you want to move
Let's get
into
to the.
opinions, if you want to talk about Erica Kirk, if you want to talk about Turning Point USA,
I'd like to talk about all
and
of
get
it.
into it, I'm totally happy to do that. But I just want to say that, like, I do not feel, because I've said what's important to me is that we
Let's go
exhaust
with
this
think.
topic first of our actual debate claims. I do not feel that you sufficiently have argued that the evidence is overwhelming.
Sorry.
Question for you.
That Tyler
But I am
Robinson.
sorry you feel that way.
Candace, one question. What evidence do you need to see for you to say Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
That's a great question. So I actually expected in this preliminary hearing, actually, the inverse of what he was saying is true, right? So this is now the time the state is putting on their evidence. That's the purpose of this hearing, right? The state is using hearsay, but they're also putting on their evidence. So I was just expecting some sort of a slam dunk. Like, we got him on camera taking the shot. At least we have him clear on camera. You're telling me this guy drove 13 hours all around. Like, we can definitely show you a picture that it's going to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Before we even get to the trial, people are going to see and go, oh crap, like it was really Tyler Robinson. I was expecting to at least see evidence that, because I had reported early on that the source was saying that Tyler did not step foot on campus that day. It is my perspective that he had something to do with something. I do believe he was disposing clothes at this stage, at this phase. I do believe he was disposing clothes. He was involved somehow. I find Lance to be more suspicious, if I'm being honest with you.
Still hasn't answered the question.
And also, like I said, the use immunity that was given to Lance by the feds, the fact that the feds didn't ask him any questions, the fact that I spoke with Lance Twiggs' family, and they were like, it's very weird that the feds are not asking him more questions. He's exactly the person that I
Asking
would
him more
imagine to
questions,
be
or they didn't ask him
involved in
any
some stuff.
questions? Because you just said they didn't ask him any questions.
But when we got to the preliminary hearing, there was not a single piece of evidence that I felt was slam dunk. I was waiting for that, a photo. I mean, anything would have made me go, all right, I think this could be the guy. If they had handed over the discovery on the text messages, since that was their big.
Let's use that term,
ta-da,
slam
we
dunk.
got the text
You said
messages.
nothing has been a
That
slam
would've been the
dunk.
first
So we're
thing
going to
I
use a
would've
slam
looked at.
dunk as a standard
Like I said, it wasn't
when we get to her
prosecution.
theories
They're right to say
that she presented as fact. Slam dunk.
Over and we heard
We'll hold it to the standard of slam dunk.
on
2
behalf of
points.
the prosecution saying it's not them and it's not the SBI, it's the FBI that's holding on to things. Is the FBI took everything. The FBI took the gun, the FBI took initially the screwdriver, and then when I heard testimony about the things that they found that were suspicious, example being the backpack, that's something that really bothers me, that they say they traced the shooter, they traced the route that he went on, and then there was an abandoned, we know it looks like he's wearing some sort of a backpack. We know that there was an abandoned backpack found at the bus stop in front of a library, and they felt that this should be taken into evidence. They took it. The FBI, this was the testimony of Amanda Baker.
This coming from George, said at this point in the process and in the legal procedure, you won't have slam dunk.
No, that would be,
ever. You never have slam dunk.
No, you'll have that in the trial.
If you present slam dunk evidence at this point, you would be foolish and
Yeah, you'd be tipping
it would
your
harm your case.
I know, I've been through it.
Backpack actually belongs to somebody on Charlie's team. But if you know the map of the layout of the campus, you're going, well, what the hell are they doing all the way up? This is nowhere near anywhere. And by the way, that's not an acceptable answer for why you just gave it back. That's like, why would you give it back? You're acting like no one's ever been killed by somebody on their team before, right? So I found that to be very strange. That
So her claim is that there was a backpack that was found at a bus stop that belonged to a member of Charlie's team. Can we fact check that and just see what it is that she's talking about, how that might be relevant? Because I can't imagine it's relevant unless it included a weapon or unless it was Tyler Robinson's backpack.
This is why
Different people have backpacks.
The investigation itself feels
Was it a
underwhelming.
JanSport?
When you learn, and this is completely crazy to me, that some of the artifacts that Charlie was wearing were immediately returned to Erica. That's absurd. That is absurd. Everything should be in evidence. When you learn that the car that they carried Charlie in to go to the hospital, they had immediately towed, cleaned, and back up for resale, that's absurd. That should be sitting in evidence. And any police officer that you speak to will say, or person that's been involved in a crime will say, I didn't get my stuff back for years. That had nothing to do with anything. It was just around. And they kept it into evidence until the trial was over, and it has to be approved. I think somebody
Sometimes
said
it is.
by
Sometimes
the
it's not.
Attorney General has to sign off on giving you those objects back. And we were told this is all fine. And we see,
It's true with
and
weapons.
this is just one example,
With weapons, yeah.
Erica holding the crucifix. That should be in evidence. Irrespective of if you feel bad for her and think she should have it and it's sweet, that should be in evidence. Immediately paving over the crime scene. This is like the craziest thing ever. This like defies common sense. You immediately, and when you heard the guy who did it actually go up on a podcast and explain, I got the call. They said it was a paver emergency. I've never in my entire career heard of a paver emergency. They had already had someone come up and dig up the dirt. So by the time he got there on Sunday,
Never heard of a pothole that was destroying vehicles and suspensions?
She didn't have a career in construction, to be clear.
that is what people are looking at and going, this
or
is
maybe
weird.
a crime scene that's already
There needs
been
to be answers
gone
for
over
why
with a
this was done.
fine-tooth
He
comb
tells
and
us to
still
call
perhaps has
from the
blood
feds and the
or
governor's office.
reminders of a horrible crime that would be disturbing to students. And once they've gone through everything, they might pave it over to try and make it appropriate. Yeah, it's again, these are not things that are. She would have to prove that it is unprecedented that this never happens. It's just not true. It happens all the time.
Maybe not using it in the best cop term.
Otherwise, every single time there's a crime, that yellow caution tape would just be up forever. If a crime takes place at a restaurant, you never go to that restaurant again. Someone gets shot at a 7-Eleven, guess what? You don't get to go.
In any other criminal.
You wouldn't have been able to go to the grassy knoll area. In other words, that entire, all of that traffic, Dallas, downtown Dallas, right outside that museum, would have been shut down indefinitely for years. It's just not how it works.
For you
Plenty of examples.
Something, if they had, I was expecting, here we have
So
a
again,
look
the
at the
same
shot,
question he
here it
asked.
is, and then I'd be like, great, a clear image of him on the staircase where I'm like, that's definitively Tyler Robinson and he was on campus. We got nothing. We got literally nothing. But hearsay of people saying,
But you basically get no case.
What?
You basically no case on planet Earth. You get the
Sure.
Oh, we got a picture.
Okay,
Here's him with the murder weapon.
you're right.
Here's
Bring
him
up the
taking the
staircase
shot.
Tyler Robinson footage, image. I mean, she can say she doesn't agree, but to say it's nothing is absurd. Fact check that. Let me know when we have it.
George says police and prosecutors absolutely can return seized property to an owner or their family before a trial if they determine it is not relevant to the case or no longer needed as evidence.
The oppositional is true, right? That he's a patsy or something like that. Just good, clear, concise evidence that's been presented, right, and is being presented that I could go through and link all together to see if there's actually some clear picture of there being a patsy. That's what it would take for me.
Okay,
just a
I
good.
don't disagree with
just
that.
a
We haven't
good-
heard the
hang on,
defense
just
respond.
a good evidentiary standard, and then of course I would change my mind.
So just to qualify this, so there is a possibility in the next few months that you may come out and say, guys, it's done. Tyler killed them.
Yeah.
So you're saying yes to that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for the audience.
Right now it's 0%.
For you, is there anything? that
Andrew's
you
at
can
about
see for you to say,
75%,
yeah, this guy was a
just to be
patsy,
clear.
the
Of
government was
course,
involved.
I'm going to always follow evidence.
Perfect.
So my whole thing is just this. It's really important to me. I don't mind people being truth seekers and justice searchers, and the internet has helped solve tons of crimes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? However, there's also people who, they not only don't solve crimes, but they just come up with conjecture and they what's called flooding the zone. You flood the zone with tons and tons of conspiracy-based ideas, and they go nowhere, right? And in fact, they actually take away from legitimate investigation. Now, I'm not even saying anybody here is purposely flooding the zone. That's not even the claim. All I'm saying is that the claims made absent, this is just me not being convinced by the state's evidence. Those become claims, and claims have to be defended. Just like mine have to be defended, yours have to be defended.
Yes.
And that's
What do you
we're
have
gonna
there,
get to
News?
now. Yeah.
There you go.
You want to get into it?
Okay, so these are multiple. There's also one where he's looking up more towards the camera.
It's not very clear.
No, it's not very.
And the conspiracies that have been conjectured by Candace Owens in regards to this case.
There goes the security camera industry.
We'll take a 3.5 minute break.
Because none of them are valid. None of them count.
All right, you guys, you have probably seen all the buzz.
All right, do we want to bring in George, or then if we want to do, or do we want to bring in Gerald?
We got Gerald on the next commercial break.
Yeah.
So let's bring in George.
Let's bring in George if he is able to come on in, George the Greek, and give us some legal advice here. Hold on.
Okay.
George, come on in, George the Greek.
George, don't be shy.
Number on the fact check.
Come on in, Georgie. Oh, there he is.
Okay, George. Yeah. I have some questions for you. Because again, this is kind of the problem with what.
George, other chair.
Other chair. Other chair. Oh, you're my lawyer? Oh, I'm going to lose everything. Things. First off, the idea that they would never pave over a crime scene at all long after, weeks after the crime scene. Is there a precedent for that taking place?
Yeah, I mean, if they're done with it, they're done with it. Your analogy with JFK was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, by the way, I went down and laid down in the middle of that X, and it was considered horribly distasteful, and I got a lot of people honking. They tried to run me over. This was, of course, decades later. A crucifix going back to the wife, for example. Is there precedent for that happening?
Absolutely. If they decided it's not evidence, they don't need it, they'll absolutely return it to you. No reason not to.
Can you think of any way that that crucifix could be considered evidence?
Potentially. I mean, a detective could determine whatever it is, but the idea that they've looked at it, they examined it, and they're done with it, sure. They usually
it's not evidence.
I'm sorry?
They determine it's not evidence.
Yeah, they'll give it back. They won't hold on to it forever.
Or like a vehicle used, for example, not in a crime, but a vehicle used to transport a victim to a hospital isn't necessarily in evidence forever. There's precedent for that going back to the owner of the vehicle.
Absolutely. I may be wrong about this, but they may have auctioned off Renee Good's truck already.
Really?
Yeah.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Okay. Explain to us what she is trying to paint here, where preliminary hearing versus the actual trial, because that's a very important distinction, right? He was trying to say, well, this is what's being presented at the, for example, reasonable hearsay. Explain to us what a preliminary hearing is, what it's designed to do, what prosecutors wouldn't do, what defenses maybe would do, in contrast to a trial.
Right. So Candace basically got it exactly backwards.
Okay.
So she's arguing, like, where's the smoking gun? Where's it? You're not going to try the whole case right now in a preliminary hearing. The way Utah works right now is they do this, and by the way, I think the defense really wanted this behind closed doors for obvious reasons, but the judge said this is going to be a public hearing, is to determine, is there enough probable cause to take this thing to trial? Should we even waste our time with the trial? Now, considering the way this case is unfolded, it may seem redundant or ridiculous or unnecessary, but procedure is procedure. It's called due process. This is due process. And this is where it may sound a little ridiculous, but the point is, the prosecution needs to show, hey, we have enough reason to go to trial. They're not going to give you every single piece of detail. They're not going to bring every witness. They're going to give just as much as they need to overcome this very low hurdle.
Right.
Get this thing now in front of a jury, and that's when they're going to come out with every single little detail.
And a part of that, by the way, would play directly into what Candace was saying. They would present as little as they need to, because they have to present that to the defense, and they don't want to tip their hand with the defense, right? And as we saw, everything they presented was given to the defense, which she claimed had not been.
Right. There's no secrets. It's discovery. You have to share these things. There's no surprises. But at the same time, it's not, I'm going to show you every little thing.
Right.
Before trial, obviously, and during trial, the defense is going to get to impeach the prosecution's witnesses, question their credibility, question where they got all of this. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
We're not doing this right now. And she's exploiting this idea that the prosecution is holding some back or not making their case in the most detail to go, see, it's a weak case.
Right.
I want to see the smoking gun now. You may want to see the smoking gun now, but they're waiting for the 12 jurors to give them every little piece of detail. That is something she's exploiting to go, well, if they're not showing it now, they must not have anything, or they're concocting something.
Right.
It's just, she got it exactly backwards.
It's entirely the court of public opinion before that, and then people speculate more, but that's the whole thing. You don't want to tip your hand. It'd be like going around, hockey, where you warm up on your side of the ice and you show your best plays right there. You go right through. Like, no, you want them to see you warming up. See, you want to intimidate them a little bit, let them know that you got something, and then you move on. For example, I mean, I don't think I have no idea, but the preliminary hearing, I don't think that's where the OJ defense presented Furman saying the N-word. No. That's what they call the bombshell.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's a perfect example right there. And this idea that this means something is just out of control. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's where we are. But at least our audience is getting the clarity, that they should.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, this does help provide clarity. What would you like to see more of here as we continue on this debate? Because hopefully we get to the point where we ask her on her specific theories. I'm hoping Andrew gets to do that, like the French 13th Legion, or Foreign Legion, sorry, the Egyptian planes, Erica Kirk, obviously taking part in the assassination, the Utah Communist Mormon cult.
Yeah, this is going to be the fun part. And again, this kind of speaks to the MO. Let's find some circumstantial evidence. Let's find some, Charlie Day, Always Sunny Philadelphia meme. Let's make the connection and then tell a fun story. Guys, conspiracies are fun.
Right.
We like them. They're fun. We like to play with them and all that. But that's what this is.
Gerald said that Andrew is going to get to that. He is getting to that.
That's a very good analogy. It's a very good analogy to bring up Charlie Day because, as I understand it, you are one of the top 10 bird lawyers in the state of Texas.
Bird law.
Bird
Get
law.
ready for a bird bat.
So we are in good hands. All right, unless there's anything else, thank you, George the Greek, and
no
I know
problem.
that you're at your post doing the fact checking. We have to. Do I have to mention something here?
Oh, yeah.
What do I got to mention?
Yeah, Rumble Wallet.
Yeah, Rumble Wallet.
Wallet. You got to manage your crypto in one place, secure your finances, get $5 in U.S. stablecoin.
Okay, there you go.
Time promo.
The link in the description.
Yeah,
Link in the description.
Link in the description, and make sure you use Crowder5. That's a code, Crowder5.
And we did miss the Tax Network USA because here's the thing: we don't have any crowdfunding, and we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions from foreign investors. Do you have the Tax Network USA plug? Because we had to cut that Al Capone commercial short. There you go: tnusa.com/Crowder, or you call 1-866-686-1417. Don't do your taxes on your own because you can get raped.
It's true. That's true.
Sodomized.
That's all hearsay.
Extreme fact check.
Sodomized without mercy.
Where's the evidence?
Did we get that number on fact checks? They only presented one, and it seems like the neutral or Andrew, there's got to be at least, 8, 9, 10? Something like that.
I asked Gerald, he didn't have a count, but he said every single fact check, except for the one little reply tweet has gone Andrew's way. So,
do we want to take some chat from the audience? I guess that might be a good idea to see what they're saying. Sure. And do you want to take some as a lawyer? And then I need you to go back to your post because I'm flying blind. But you can take a couple of chats as a lawyer. You might be able to help me with this because I'm not one. All right, Noodles.
All right, first chat from Rumble Foreskin. Regardless of the debate outcome, do you think merely having popular independent voices address this will further diminish legacy media or force to cover something besides propaganda?
I don't know because we've moved past the point where people buy what legacy media sells. I mean, you saw with ivermectin, what they did to Joe Rogan. You saw that with COVID. You saw that with the 2020 election. You even saw that with the polling, honestly, the 2016 election, to be clear. This is more so about, I think we moved on to another phase. Great, legacy media is irrelevant. Not irrelevant, but legacy media doesn't hold a candle to new media. And now it's about the direction of online media, new media going forward, if we want to be better than legacy media. Because legacy media turned into a cesspool of propaganda and nothing but inferences and bias. And new media, by the way, everyone has bias. I would say just be honest about it. But does new media want to be better, or does new media want to be baseless conspiracies? Does new media want to be TMZ, tabloid, Entertainment Tonight, smut? Or do we want to have these conversations and actually have the capabilities of being more productive? So I think we've crossed that bridge. Legacy media, smaller, the big contracts are going to new media. And now it's about determining, hey, what do we want new media to be? And I think that you see a big divide. People like myself, people who've been around for a very long time, most of them are gone. They've thrown their hands up because they find it very frustrating. There was an era where clickbait wasn't a thing. You had to create really good content where the most important portion of the algorithm was most commented or most liked by individual people. That was YouTube. When that changed, a lot of those people are gone. Now some of those people are still around saying like, hey, we started this to bypass the dishonesty of legacy media. We can't just be acting as dishonestly. And the newer people, and I would say people who've come in really, my cutoff would be, I don't know, maybe 2018.
I gotta restart.
After, I've been here since